Hey everybody, what's up? This is Mr. Extrodin, back yet with yet another video. I'm not alone as usual. I'm with Rob Sibeko, a writer, a director, filmmaker. He has a book out called Jin's War. Please do check it out. I believe you will not regret it. This man dissects characters like no one's business, so I'm sure his characters in his books are well thought out. It's only $50. And I believe you can catch it. You can buy it rather at is it Google Play?
Yeah, Google Play. Yeah.
At Google Play for only $50. So it's quite cheap. And if you're watching this internationally, if you're from the States, it's probably gonna be cheaper than that. So so yeah, do check it out and leave a comment, man. Let him know what you think. Yeah, be in touch. He's on the socials. I'll leave a link in the description below of the book and his socials so that you can check out some of his other content on TikTok. This is African Frame. We dissect films. We do any genre. We've done animation. We've done romantic comedies. We've done dramas. So yeah, that's what we do here. Film, if it's as long as it's a film, we will cover it, good or bad.
Yes.
And thanks for everybody who's been checking us out. We truly appreciate it. We see the numbers are growing. We truly appreciate that. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell icon so that you can get notified of any other videos that might be coming out in the future. We have a lot of content that's lined up. So trust me, you will not regret it. Also, let us know what your favorite movie review has been so far. Would really appreciate the feedback on that. But yeah, today we're going to be doing Past Lives. Past Lives came out last year, 2023. And yeah, no, it got a good reception from critics and audiences alike. Past Lives is directed by Celine Song. A Korean and Canadian director, playwright, and screenwriter based in the United States. She was also nominated for several accolades, including Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay for Past Lives. And it stars Greta Lee. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Greta Lee, but the first time I saw Greta Lee, I saw her in New Girl. You know New Girl, the sitcom?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was there. I was like, yeah, who's this pretty woman?
Yeah.
And then she was also in Russian Doll. She was the main character's best friend. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, I didn't see Russian Doll, unfortunately.
It's quite cool actually.
These movies I haven't seen.
Pardon?
So, a lot of her stuff is stuff I haven't seen. Like this.
Is it?
Yeah. Like.
Well, I mean, she's been in Top 5. Top 5 by Chris Rock. We haven't seen that one. She was also in The Cobbler with Adam Sandler.
Oh, I don't remember. I don't think I watched it. No.
She was also in Money Monster. We touched on Money Monster before. And then in terms of like what's this series, she was in Law and Order Special Victims Unit. You know, I think the problem with police procedurals, no?
Yeah.
is highly unlikely for you to remember a character that only appears in one episode if like the series has like 23 seasons.
True.
You know
also,
what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And also, you almost have to be famous already first. Like the
Yes.
Robin Williams episode was great.
Right.
He was in Special Victims Unit. The guy from Harold and Kumar kind of showed up in one of those episodes.
Oh, Kalpen.
Yes, the Indian guy. Yeah.
Yes.
He was great. It's kind of funny though. There's a funny joke about that where like you'll get like 5 random actors, right? And you're like, I wonder who the suspect is. It's random guy, Henry Cavill, random guy. I wonder who it could be. It's like, you know what I mean?
Of course it's gonna be Henry Cavill. Why would they show Henry Cavill?
Yeah, why would you show him?
Second. It makes sense. Unless if it's those directors that deliberately, like a Ryan Johnson, who deliberately wants to subvert the expectations, where he would show Henry Cavill, but it was genuinely just a cameo.
Yeah, but like that'll be a movie though. Like for example, Eurotrip has Matt Damon, of course. You know
Yes,
the old surprise
Scotty
Matt
doesn't
Damon
know.
team. Yes,
And he doesn't know.
exactly. And the classic bait and switch that they did for Scream. I don't know if you know about that one, because
No.
Barrymore was Scream 1. Drew Barrymore was like one of the biggest names in film at that time, right?
Yes.
So they obviously put her in the
water
trailer.
phone thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they put her in the trailer thinking, oh my God, this is going to be like, you know,
Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore starring this. And then she's the first person to die. And it's like, oh. So yeah, you do get stuff like that. Definitely.
You just reminded me of what James Gunn did with the Suicide Squad.
Nathan Fillion.
Dude, you got Nathan Fillion. You got you even got this guy. Who's this guy? The guy who was dating Kim Kardashian.
Oh my God, what is it? Pete Davidson? Yes.
You know, so you get all these guys, and you also got Jay Courtney there. You're thinking, okay, he wasn't the first one, so clearly he's clearly going to be in the film.
Yes, exactly.
Only to find out, dude, within the first 5 minutes, they're gone, dog. Even you're like, no, this is crazy.
They gave it the Star Wars treatment, where basically in the third Star Wars movie, where they basically undid everything Ryan Johnson did. Suicide Squad 2 undid everything Suicide Squad 1 did. Remember these guys? Yeah, let's pretend they weren't here.
And the ones that are there that we liked, we're just gonna make them a little more fun.
Yes. And then we're still gonna kill a lot of them anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna give the captain, or the leader, an epic death. Don't worry.
Yeah. And then of course, don't forget about Brad Pitt in Deadpool 2.
Deadpool, right?
Yeah. But those are movies though; they're not really TV series. But at the same time, no, I hear you.
Yeah, you're right. I think there's a big difference. And but anyway, going back to what I wanted to say is, when you look at some of these people's filmographies or whatever they've done on television, it's really hard for you to actually realize that they were in certain projects that you're already familiar with. Like you find that someone was in Grey's Anatomy, but because you didn't know them at the time, you wouldn't even have noticed that they were there unless that storyline resonated with you so much that you really actually were interested in the actress and you wanted to know much about them or the actor, which is unlikely that it would happen often.
That's happened. Like for example, again, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Actually, I think it's Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Yeah, I think it's the girl. I can't remember her name. I think it's the one who plays the cheerleader in Heroes. I just know it's a blonde white girl, but I think it's her. She was in Law and Order, right? But she was so good, they brought her back as a different character like years later.
Wow. I think it's Hayden Panettiere or something like that. I think that's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was her in that one, but I think I'm 60% sure it was her.
But I get what you mean. So some of them are so iconic that, I mean, we have had issues, not really issues. We have had moments where a character would come and they were supposed to come for like 1 episode or 2 episodes, but they're so popular, like Power Rangers, for instance. Jason David Frank, who plays Tommy in Power Rangers, the Green Ranger.
Yes.
He was only supposed to be there for a few episodes, but that character and the storyline was so iconic that they eventually even made him like one of the main characters, dog.
Absolutely. Another one, Ron from Game of Thrones. He's a short-term character. He's not supposed to be there the whole series. He was not supposed to make it to the whole series. I don't think he dies in the books, but he definitely disappears in the books. So he's not that important in the books. Yes. Ron. He's not that important. He's just a sellsword. That's all he is. Then he ends up a lord at the end of it. But people so much. They were like, nah, you can't get rid of him.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. I thought he was one of the main characters, like in the show.
No, he was just a character. He helped Tyrion. And then obviously when things fall apart, maybe season 4, I think he was supposed to be gone already by then. But then they're like, dude, you're great. So, yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, you could say the top 4 main characters is Tyrion, Daenerys, Jon Snow, and Arya, maybe.
Yeah, and if you think about it, even if you think about Tyrion, if you understand what happens in the books with him, right? You can understand why after season 4 they kind of change his character. They actually change it because he was supposed to go through a supervillain arc. You know what I mean? He was supposed to come back, but people didn't like him. People didn't like that idea, I think. So they decided to just keep him a good guy, even though he doesn't do anything from then onwards. So they just
Yeah.
kept him as a, because what happens in the books, according to people I've read, is what happens in the books is after he kills the fake girlfriend, because basically the whole girlfriend situation is a lot worse than you think. In the books, it's a lot worse. So he goes through after he kills his father and he kills this person that he thought he loved, he basically becomes brutal, he becomes cruel, and he goes through this whole thing. He doesn't just become a drunk, he becomes a bad guy, basically. That's what I've read anyway. So yeah, sometimes, popular fan appeal can do a lot. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, it can, like, the fans become so sensitive to what might happen to their favorite characters that the creator sometimes has no choice but to give them what they want.
Yeah, hey man, look at Sonic. Can anyone even be mad at that one?
Sonic.
Yeah, remember his face before they changed, before the fans?
Oh, yeah. Look, I'm glad that the studio actually
listened,
because that Sonic was horrendous, dog.
That was disgusting.
That Sonic was like an actor who was not supposed to get the job but got it anyway. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So they did it. I mean, it's probably one of the most lucrative brands at the moment. Eh?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure if you've seen the Knuckles trailer. Yeah, there's a spin-off series now, a limited series with Knuckles. It's called Knuckles, I think.
Starring Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Idris Elba is still Knuckles.
Yeah.
Hot damn. Okay.
Yeah, man.
And good for them.
They're clearly making money from this.
As they should. I mean, Sonic is a cool franchise. Better than the games.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, I don't want to lie. Sonic for me, as a kid, I enjoyed the TV series, the animated series.
Yeah.
There were two animated series that came out at the same time. One was a bit goofy, and then one was a bit more dark and serious.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the serious and dark one. Shout out to Jaleel White, who played Steve Urkel in Family Matters, because he's the one that voiced Sonic in both those TV animated series. It was amazing. I don't want to lie. It was really amazing. So yeah, I need to watch the films. I haven't watched the films, but I need to check them out.
Jaleel White is a rock star in my opinion. I like that guy so much. Like, I feel like no one really understands how cool he is. You know what I mean? Like the work.
Dude, that guy, for me, his level of acting when he was a child, was on par with veterans, though.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I mean, also voiced a chicken in Quest for Camelot. Remember Quest for Camelot?
So yeah, a long time ago, bringing back old memories, man.
And I think there's gonna be a Steve Urkel series, animated series, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I'm still to be corrected on that one, but I think I read an article or something.
If that's true, I'll be blown away.
Yeah, dude. No, he was supposed to, like, he should actually be a billionaire by now. I don't know what's happening. Like, the residuals were supposed to like pay him.
I'm assuming that one of those situations happened, like the whole Cat Williams type situation. Maybe he didn't want to, offer his booty hole or something, and now his career is over. I don't know, dude, because that man, he disappeared. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
now he's just doing like supporting roles and stuff. Yeah. But look, even if he doesn't have billions, I'm sure he's a millionaire. Because he seems like he's content with where he's at. Like, it's like, look, I already made all the money that I need. It's all good. I can do the supporting roles now. It's fine.
I even saw an interview once with him, and I think it was Talib Kweli. He was talking about
the People's Party. Yes, there's a podcast by Talib Kweli called The People's Party. Yes,
exactly. And they were talking about how the industry was like, where in Family Matters, like they have like they just have nothing but like white writers, and black characters saying things like "oy vey," like they're Jewish or something. It's like, okay, but no, a black person would never say these things. So you know what I mean? Like, oy vey, it's like a Jewish expression. It's like Jewish version of ish. Yeah, I get. Yeah. So like, and it's like, okay, but why would that ever happen to? Why would a black person ever say that? You know what I mean? So, like, I know like the industry was like that, and hey, man, I'm sure that's probably what kept him out of things, man. You know what I mean?
That's true. Guys, you know we do tangents normally, so please don't be alarmed.
It's going to be worse today because a lot of these actors, I think this one's the most, Greta Lee's the most famous actor, and the
Yes,
rest, I looked up their roles, dog. I don't know any of these roles that they've been doing, dude. Nothing.
I think I would say the second main character here is played by Tae Yu.
Yes.
I hope I'm not butchering the name. But this man is actually a German South Korean actor. He's fluent in German and he's fluent in English. But the way he made that Korean accent thing in this film was impeccable. Like I actually believe that this man doesn't know how to speak English properly and is still learning. Truly remarkable. But yeah, he was in a musical film called Leto, which was released in 2018. He was in a film called Equals. He was in Black Money. You're right. I don't know any of this.
Any of this stuff, dog.
He was in a TV show called Vagabond. He was in another one called Chocolate. And he was in Money Game. But it seems like these are Korean shows. So I guess maybe that's why we're not. Pardon?
Looking at all these faces, and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing I can like really latch onto here from a Western perspective.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then the third main character or the protagonist is John. Magaro. Yeah. He is an American actor. He acted in films such as Not Fade Away. He was in The Big Short.
Which is fantastic, yes.
He was in Carol. He was in First Cow, Showing Up. He was also in the Orange is the New Black, and he was in the Umbrella Academy. I know the Umbrella Academy, but I don't remember him being in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as who?
Was he not maybe one of the members of the other academy?
I don't think so. I'm trying to, because I love that show. I'm trying to think, who was he at?
Yeah, me too, man. I have no idea, hey?
Yeah, I also have no idea.
I don't see it here on his
Leonard Peabody.
filmography. Leonard Peabody.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm gonna spend the whole. I'm determined now. I want to say it's a small role, but it can't. I'm trying to think. Leonard Peabody. That name sounds familiar.
Oh wait, wasn't it like the villain in the first season? You remember there was someone who was.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
That's him. You remember there was someone manipulating Vanya and she fell in love with him and all of that.
Yes, you're right. It's him. He's the bad guy in the first season. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, he looks nothing like that guy.
This is a visual change, definitely. It looks different.
But anyway, yeah, those are the three main characters. So that's as far as we can go, I guess, with this cast, because everybody else, we honestly don't know them.
Some of them don't even have pictures on the IMDb page, dude.
Yeah. But I think some of them are probably famous in their respective countries, their respective local areas and whatever. It's just that from an international point of view, Africans and particularly South Africans and South Africans who barely watch any Korean content, it's hard for us to actually pinpoint these people. I'm sure there are other people who would have said, guys, you don't know this and that. Unfortunately, we don't, but we're still learning.
Which is funny, actually, because I think that's changing. Because I think a lot of these Korean soapies, are starting to kick Bold and the Beautiful's ass, and they're starting to show up. Like, people who have Netflix are like watching these Korean soapies now, because like, you know what I mean? They're like, and South Africans love soapies. I
was dating someone who watched a lot of Korean telenovelas on YouTube. Yeah. Because so it
hits the right spot for us for some reason.
Definitely. I think it's one thing I've realized about Asian stories is some of them are really complex. They're not typical predictable stories. It's stuff. Yeah, I don't know how to put it, but I think with Asians, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they know how to write multiple characters.
Well, yes, I think that's true. I think with them, it's high concept.
Ah,
They are high concept writers because
nice.
I'm a hardcore manga reader. I have read hundreds of manga,
Same here.
including from Chinese to Korean to Japanese.
Okay, just to give people context. So there's manfra. So manfra is basically manga based in France. Manga is Japanese comics, and then there's manhwa, which is, I think it's Korean or Chinese, because there's manhua and manhwa.
Manhwa is Korean.
Manhwa is Korean, and then manhua is Chinese, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, just to give people context. Yeah.
Definitely, I would say Asian high concept, like their ideas of like Bleach and Death Note and all these ideas of theirs. Definitely, I would say they're above the average when it comes to stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I would say the part where the West takes over is with the execution, I think, and the story, overall story. For example, I've noticed when I read a lot of manga, like for example, let's see, what can I think of a good example? Like think of a pattern like Bleach, Naruto, Exorcist, Black Clover, like that. Basically, those are all one exact type of shonen manga, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where there's exact fundamentals there.
Right.
But the storylines are unique in their own way, right?
I get you. But there's like this hero who has to learn the power system, and then there's like a tournament arc.
Yeah.
And then there's like a villain that they have to defeat, and then the next villain is a bit stronger than the previous one.
Exactly. Right. Once you get, I call it especially when it comes to manga, I call it the 50 chapter rule. Once the first 50 chapters of any manga are normally some of the best writing that's out there.
100%.
But then once you get from chapter 50 onwards, you start to notice that's when the patterns start coming in.
Right.
Like I love romance, right? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And normally they'll be like, oh, chick wakes up as a villainess type stuff. You know what I mean? Like reincarnation type stuff. That little unique plot arc that makes it unique from other ones. Start and it'll be awesome, but then the arc will end, and now we're following the pattern of other ones. Western stuff doesn't do that. You know
well, sometimes it does, but I do get what you're saying.
Not to the same extent. Let me put it like that. We're not talking about exceptions. We're talking about patterns. If you know what I mean.
Okay. I'll give an example. CW shows.
Yeah, but they start like that. If you know what I mean. They start the same, and then they don't change. Whereas the other one starts so unique that it's incredible.
Hallmark. You know, CW Hallmark. Yes. Same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about just manga in general, like, oh, dog. Which is ironic because some of the best stuff of theirs is some of the stuff that moves the slowest. If you know what I mean.
That's true. Like for instance with Naruto takes longer than most manga because it's world built on another level, you know. I think One Piece is the same. So you really get to know the village. I remember when I was basically telling a few friends of mine to watch Naruto. I told them, I said, by the time Naruto ends, you will probably know almost everybody in the village of Konoha.
True enough.
Like important people. You know, there's the guy who sells ramen and noodles. You know what I mean? You know, the rookie nine.
Especially in the anime with all their filler. Oh my god. You literally meet everyone in the anime. In the manga, they cut some of that shit out. But in the anime, yeah, it's all there. They had an entire 2-episode arc once about them delivering mail or some nonsense, something like that. I can't even remember. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, no, at a point Naruto, and I think that's why a lot of people clocked out, and there's even a lot of articles online about filler arcs that you should avoid when watching Naruto, especially part 1, especially in the latter part of part 1. Because Naruto just starts going on these missions that they're nothing. It's just like a whole lot of nothing burgers.
Literally 70 episodes after Sasuke versus Naruto.
Yes.
Where in the manga it goes straight to
Shippuden. Yes.
Yeah,
Part 1 ends there.
Straight to Shippuden.
Yes.
What is it, like 70 episodes? 70 episodes of the anime. We're like, nah, dude, we're just gonna put you there. And it's like,
Missions.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, because at a point it starts feeling like slice of life.
Yes, it becomes slice of life for 70 episodes, multiple seasons. Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
But you see, that's the problem with, guys, I know we're tangenting a lot, but we're just giving context. That's the problem with manga versus anime schedules. So what happens sometimes is
Yes.
you find that the anime, which is so weird because Shonen Jump releases content every week.
Every week.
But
for some
for some reason,
it's so slow that the
it's slower
anime
than
is like,
the anime. How?
all I'm saying is I think slavery is back in Japan, dog. It's all that makes sense. The animators whoosh, whoosh, work faster.
Because how can the anime be faster than a weekly publication?
Yes, how does it make sense? And then they'll both have like 600 episodes. And it's like, but 600 chapters, 600 episodes. How? How?
No, I don't get it, though. I genuinely don't get it.
Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, don't even get me started on that one.
Oh, dude, because the original Full Metal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa, it's great. It's brilliant. It's one of the best manga ever written. But then the first anime before Brotherhood, the original anime that came out, after a certain point, I think like you could say the midpoint of the original anime that was following the manga, it goes left.
Because it caught up, and then the artist said, you'd be like, look, man, I'm just guessing. Yeah. Let's just guess. Let's guess what happens. Who's with me? Guessing? Guessing? Who wants to guess? It's like, Jesus.
Look, it's not bad. It's still good. But you can see that there's a bit of a decline somewhere.
Yeah, it's very.
For me, I consider her to be like and I hope nobody comes after me. It's just an observation, so please. She's like a manga version of J.K. Rowling, in a sense, because the way she came up with this kid who uses magical powers and creates this whole story about it and compelling characters and side characters. Oh my goodness, it is amazing. Yeah. It is amazing. And she was born in a farm. She grew up in a farm. That's why her follow-up series was called Silver Spoon, about farming.
Nice. Okay. Well, nah, dude, sometimes you hit gold, man. Sometimes you just hit gold. So I think that was just a masterpiece of one. Definitely.
100%, man. Anyway, yeah, man. I don't know if you want to say anything else before we get into it, but we're explaining the difference between Asian and Western storytelling. Yeah. Yeah, I think we lie, South Africans, but we also have similar stuff, especially when it comes to soap heating.
No, yeah, I think is how many high concept ideas do we actually have as in terms of South African storytelling? The high school dramas. Don't get me wrong, we have some pretty cool not slice of life. Thing is, Africans love realism, if you know what I mean.
Yes, like your Izo.
Yes, we love that stuff.
Right.
We love it and a half, which is why, like, if you think about it, a lot of South African sci-fi and fantasy has come out recently. In the last 5 years, but I couldn't name 3. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't name 3.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Like I remember Netflix did some show about a guy who couldn't feel pain or whatever, but then it was like a police procedural or something like that, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's like a private detective, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then there was another one with a tree, and I never watched it myself.
A tree?
I can't remember, something like a magic tree or something like that. I forgot. I'm sure if I watch a trailer again, I'll know what I'm talking about. But otherwise, it's all like local. It's all stuff that isn't magical, because I've listened to people talk about like fantasy and stuff like that, and just the disdain that can come out of a person's face sometimes. You start to lose hope as a writer. You're like, oof, oof. You start taking Popeye, and you're like, Jesus.
I think that's why South Africans gravitate towards Korean stuff now. Because Korean stuff has, obviously there is some fantasy, and so Asians love doing a lot of different genres. Like anime alone has probably over like 50 genres. I mean, the school life, we mentioned slice of life, but anyway,
But we also love Indian stuff, which is crazy. And a lot of
Exactly.
Indian
But
stuff
even
is
Indian
crazy.
stuff is a bit.
It's a bit bonkers, though. Some of it is a bit bonkers.
Yes, it's a parody of itself. I'm not talking about the overacting,
Okay.
but the premise of the story in itself, the plot in itself, most of it is relatable stuff. Like, it's stuff that people watch on Moja Love.
Yeah.
The mother-in-law hates the daughter, and the husband is oblivious, or he's not away. He's away on a overseas trip, work thing. Now the woman is struggling, and yeah, so it's like, I can relate to this, and I think that's what South Africans love consuming. So
definitely, like if I show up with Stargate, my Stargate DVDs, I don't think anyone, I'm not
like,
gonna get that much attention.
yeah, like you're a nerd. Like, is it telling them about Captain America? They're like, yeah, no.
Yeah. Yo, dog, I've had family switch off in front of me, just like mentally switch off as I show them a TV show. That it was like amazing, like Lord of the Rings, like that, and just poof, and it's like, okay. I'll change the channel.
Isn't it weird how people can live in the same house but have a different taste? Like, how does this happen? Because we all watch the same TV.
Yeah.
When did the split happen?
I don't know, dude. I think a lot of it has to do with stigma, though. Like, I think a lot of it has to do with stigma.
Okay.
Like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I think it's a stigma thing. So, like, we're nerds. We don't care about stigma.
Right.
So the tide goes this way, and then we're like, no thanks. We love our stuff.
Yes.
So now the question is, how do we bring the tide back? Because I would love to bring the tide along with us. Because if you think about it, the only nerdy stuff in the 90s was Big Bang Theory, right?
In the 90s?
Well, no, let's say 2000s. Sorry, 2000s.
The early 2000s, yes.
And then after Big Bang Theory, basically came Iron Man and X-Men. Let's say X-Men and Iron Man combined.
Yes. Yeah.
And those two, actually, no, Blade, X-Men, Iron Man. They did the heavy lifting, and they just dragged an entire.
And Spider-Man, yes.
Yeah, they just dragged an entire. Yeah, remember Spider-Man actually broke the record for the most opening on an opening day.
Yes, in 2002, I think.
Yes, it's like 72 million, I think, or 70 something. Can't remember.
But it was one of the biggest movies ever of all time, actually.
Exactly.
So Tobey Maguire must have made a lot of money around that.
Oh, dude, he must have.
Yeah, I'm sure he was looking at Leo like, haha, what now, buddy?
Exactly. Yeah. Because, and the funny thing, Tarantino talks about this way. He talks about storytelling where during the Great Depression, where people were lining up for bread, do you know what I mean? Like starving to death in America, 1920s. He was talking about how there'd be queues outside movie theaters. Because even though you were starving to death, you still needed something. Do you know what I mean?
Like an escape.
Yeah, something more. So, and it makes me think about those movies. Maybe people like us need to find the right combination lock of like really dragging our fellows, like dragging everyone along. You know what I mean?
You're right. Because I remember even in the 70s, I remember when I was doing research over the years, when a movie like Star Wars came in, the queues, bro.
Yeah. And it's also like,
there was no streaming at the time and all of that. So you had to travel probably from like far, bro, to go to maybe, I don't know, like somewhere really, really far to be able to watch the latest Star Wars film.
Exactly.
So the box office records at the time were probably like a big deal.
Oh yeah, it was no joke at that time. But it makes you think. Makes you think about us as artists. We need to somehow find that movie. Like, for example, I know there was a TV series that was fantasy that actually drew people's attention. It was The Calling. I forgot what the name was in vernac. But was when I was in high school. Yes. Was when I was still in high school. It was about witch doctors or whatever, right? Horror.
Right.
That blew everyone's mind. And then there was just never a second season. There was just never a second season. Everyone like lost their minds. Do you remember this?
It makes me wonder why shows like that get cancelled. I mean, even Queen Sono. For me, it was brilliant. It's one of the most. For me, it was one of the most intriguing South African projects to actually be on Netflix. That was really good.
Yeah.
Like it was really, really good. Really, really good. Ended in a cliffhanger, and the show got cancelled.
It's like Firefly for Africans. Doesn't make sense.
Right.
You know Firefly, right?
Yes, I haven't watched it, but and Nathan Fillion, right?
Yes.
But didn't they do a movie afterwards?
Well, because they were like, we can't get a second season, we can't pull everyone together, so let's just wrap it up. Let's end
Wait,
it.
is it only one season of Firefly?
Only one season.
And it's that popular, bro.
It's that popular.
Dude, Firefly is as popular as like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like,
Yes.
and Buffy has like more than one season.
Yes. One season. They couldn't get everyone back together again, so they were like, let's just do it. Let's just get a 2-hour final.
Why couldn't they get everybody back together again? Was scheduling conflicts?
Interviews. I think the studio wasn't happy. I think it was just too expensive, number one, and there were scheduling conflicts, and it was just, yeah.
Makes sense, because I mean, it came out when, in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Maybe the budget was just way too high and they were not getting the return of investment that they.
Yeah. I think most people didn't have faith in Josh or something. I don't know, man. It's heartbreaking, bro. But yeah.
It's the guy who directed Avengers. What's his name again? Josh.
Yeah, I thought that's why you said Buffy, because you knew it was Josh.
Yeah, Joss Whedon.
Yes.
I mean, it kind of looks the same. I don't even know if it's the same font that he uses for Firefly as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's like, but Joss Whedon was on a roll at the time because he also did Dark Angel.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he's involved, definitely.
Yeah, if it was not him, then I think that was James Cameron. But yeah.
Multiple writing credits. He was on fire. 90s, 2000s. He was on fire.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he even wrote comic books. So
I didn't know that, actually. I did not know that.
Yeah, Marvel. Some Marvel projects. He wrote some Marvel projects, bro. Crazy. Yeah. But anyway, guys.
Yeah, let's start.
Back to the film. Let's start with the film.
Okay, first of all, let me just point out that this is our first A24 film.
I need to start doing time codes but anyway, please continue.
Yeah, it's our first A24 film. We talked about them last week, I think. They did Beef. They did The Lighthouse. They did
Lighthouses with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
It's in black and white, isn't it?
Yeah, fully in black and white. Great movie. They of course did they did this new Iron Claw movie that I talked about last week as well.
Right.
One with the guy from The Bear and not Ryan Gosling, Ryan, Zac Efron. There we go.
Right.
If I'm correct, they also did Midsummer. If I'm correct, they also did I'm so bad at the names. What is it, man? Midsummer, and I think they did The Green Knight as well. So they do all these like weird movies that are kind of like that are absolutely fascinating in the way
they should be independent, but they're not.
Yeah, they're like this weird independent film. It's like their job is independent. That's their job, is to make these weird indie films like that are like not indie because it's obviously them making it. So I think that's very fascinating. And because
I know that Euphoria. I think we talked about Euphoria.
Yes.
And Beef. We also talked about the Carmichael Show.
Yes.
Which are things projects that they've worked on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now they've got there's a bunch of movies that are still coming from them. The one that's got my attention is this Kirsten Stewart one, where like they're like Kirsten Stewart is like buff or something like that, or like it's like this weird lesbian storyline.
When is that coming out?
I believe it is coming out this year, March 8th, so around the corner. Yeah, Kirsten Stewart, Katie O'Brien. Which is ironic because the last one was Iron Claw, everyone, where they made normal actors buff. So now this one, they're doing this one as well. It's very interesting. I'm curious to see, because I feel like Kirsten Stewart is an under. Look, I feel like the Twilight movies were bad. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like we were all very harsh on her. Because I've seen her in other stuff, and she's not that bad.
Dude, I mean, look, honestly speaking, I always felt like the Twilight movies were overrated, especially after the first one came out and everybody was like screaming. I was like, this is just basic. There's nothing.
Dude, some of it was funny, but at the same time, I know what you mean. Like it was overhated, but at the same time, it wasn't good. Like if you understand what I'm saying, like it was overhated, but it wasn't terrible. Like,
right.
Like what can I think of an example? But Hudson Hawk is a good example of that. I think that movie, the Bruce Willis one that I talked about the other time.
Yes.
Everyone hates that movie. I watched it young and I loved it. It was like
it's like Daredevil. You know, the first one with Ben Affleck.
Oh yes, yes.
I didn't find it. It wasn't horrible in my opinion. Yeah.
It was fine. It wasn't a masterpiece, but in those days, compared to like,
Some of the stuff we get now.
yes, it's. Dude, I feel like some of these movies deserve an apology compared to what's coming out now lately. Like Dracula 2000, compared to that, some of the CGI there and some of the fighting there, compared to some of the modern movies coming out. Nah, dude.
You mentioned Dracula 2000. I don't know how many times I watched that movie as a kid, bro.
Right?
That movie is one of, okay, obviously the main character was eye candy, but you had Gerald Butler there.
Yeah.
You had Christopher Plummer there.
Yes. And then
Omar Epps there.
yes. And another one, Dracula Untold. Remember that one with
Which one is
the
that
guy
one?
who plays Garçon? Guy who plays Garçon in the new, what's his name? I know you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
Even as
Who's Gasson?
the guy, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Gaston. You're talking about Luke Evans, I think.
Luke Evans, yes, the vampire movie starring Luke Evans, where he's playing Vlad the Impaler. It got overhated and it didn't make money. It didn't get a sequel. It was supposed to be like a cinematic universe. It's fantastic. It's genuinely fantastic.
Right.
But we're never gonna get a sequel because everyone was like, "Rrr," and now we don't have a sequel to that one. Compare that to any action movie coming out this year. Do you know what I mean? Outside of maybe John Wick 7. I would watch that movie 5 times before I watched. Yeah, but anyway.
I mean, it seems like Beekeeper is the only movie that people are talking about. I don't know if it's an action flick or what, but it's getting good reviews.
Guy Ritchie again, right? I don't know if it's Guy Ritchie again.
Is it Guy Ritchie?
It's Jason Statham. It's Jason Statham.
Yeah. I do know that Statham has worked with Guy Ritchie. I mean, on a few stuff like Snatch.
Yes, but Man at War was the one where it was him and Guy Ritchie together, and they did this slow-paced.
What's that?
Wrath of Man. Sorry, not Man at War. Wrath of Man. Where it was like, have you seen Wrath of Man? Dude, it's surprisingly good.
But Jason Statham has been doing a lot. I mean, he was doing the Meg this other time.
Yeah, but that's like a B movie. See, that's what I mean. It's like they took, because Jason Statham does B movies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Machinist.
The Banker.
Call it, yes. All of these movies he does, right? But then it's like they took a good director, slapped him on there, and then with Wrath of Man, right? Because obviously, what's his face? Guy Ritchie's a great director.
Right.
They took a B movie, slapped a good director on it, and you just got a whole new experience with Wrath of Man. And I really enjoyed it. It's very mesmerizing kind of vibe to it, while at the same time still being this cool action movie. It's David Ayer, and he can.
David Ayer, yeah. I mean, Ayer is not a bad director at all.
Of course.
But I also feel like he's also he's supposed to make like B movies as well.
Yes.
Because he did what's this? Is it Bright with Will Smith?
Which I think is overhated in my opinion. But
I also think it's overhated. It's not horrible. I think it's
not horrible. It's not horrible. To me, it's a good B movie.
Yes.
Other people think it's a terrible world-class movie. Who said it was going to be a world-class movie? It's a straight-to-Netflix movie. Why? What are you people expecting?
And I also think that Suicide Squad is a good B movie as well. It's
if you treat it as, but remember, it's not even his cut; it's someone else's cut.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a decent B movie, absolutely. Whereas Thingamajiggy is a great B movie. Bright, yes, it's a great, because it's straightforward. The second you like only one human has ever actually picked up a wand, I'm like, it's gonna be Will Smith, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yes. But at the same time, if I'm like, this is a straight to Netflix movie, it's fantastic. But if I think of it as it's like, let me give you an example. You buy computer games, right? You game, right?
Yeah, but I play. I'm an old school fighting game guy. I play like King of Fighters and Street Fighter and stuff like that, and Tekken.
All right. Well, in this example, if you spend 1,000 rand on a game, right? Should that game be anything less than magnificent? Do you know what I mean?
No, it shouldn't.
But if you spend $50 on a game, you can kind of
you get what you pay for. You're like, okay.
Yes, and if it's anything above what you pay for, it's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Great. It becomes more than worth it.
Yeah. You're like, oh, why is this $50?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what Bright is. You know what I mean?
Ah.
And the last time I checked, it was less than $50. It was free. It was on Netflix. So what are we talking about right now?
I think it's because you have a huge box office draw, and I think that's the danger of becoming a film star.
Yeah.
The danger of being a film star is you are sort of forced to always be doing this magnificent A movies, even though you are an actor over everything else, right? Because I saw this with Silomake. Silomake, let's not lie, his role as Achimoroka,
Yeah.
like took him dog, like from like 50 to like 1,000, right?
Yes.
But he is an artist first, right? Even the character that he wanted to play in Generations was called Busang, who was like an artist, right? He wanted to play that. I guess they wanted to showcase his versatility or whatever. But then they gave him the main character.
Yeah.
So that propelled his career like tenfold.
Yeah.
So now some of the projects that he's doing now, you're like, but why is Archie in this?
Yes. It was almost what they call it typecasting, where you get stuck on a role. Yes.
Yes, because now he does sometimes play supporting roles and whatever. But whenever you see him, you will always see him as Archie because.
Yeah.
So my point is, Will Smith, you expect him to do an Oscar-winning project all the time, or a project that could at least be considered to be a nominated project. Then he does Bright. You're like, why, Will?
Now, fair enough. Even though right now I feel like the situation is opposite, where now he's doing all these nonsense to try and win an Oscar. It's like, I need you to stop trying to win an Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar bait.
Yes, please stop trying to win an Oscar, please, dog.
I think I saw a headline on either Variety or the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. It talks about him doing a role where he is a soldier during is it
Oh no.
the Iraqi thing?
Oh.
War.
Oh no.
Yeah. You didn't hear about it?
No. A part of me is starting to hate serious Will Smith. If you know what I mean. I'm starting to hate him.
I think I get where you're coming from. Is it because you're used to seeing him as?
No, because when he's serious, he's not he's boring. After Earth, yes or no, he's boring.
Yeah.
He's aggressively boring.
Yes, he is.
He's almost not an actor, if you know what I mean.
He's a plot device.
Yeah. Because like again, there's a scene in this movie we're about to talk about, right? Where what's this guy? What's his name? We talked about him just now. Amago or whatever his name is. The guy who plays Arthur.
Who plays Arthur in?
Yeah, in this movie. There's a scene where he's the guy playing Arthur, where he does where we just look at him. And us looking at him is just whew. There's a scene where you look at him, right, and you can tell like there's like 17 different emotions happening right now. And it's fantastic.
So
I can't
it says
explain it to you.
Will Smith to play Iraq war vet or Iraq war vet in crime thriller Sugar Bandits.
Directed by who?
M.
Night Shyamalan.
Really?
No, I'm guessing. I'm just making fun.
I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be directing it. I didn't read the article, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait, let me see if I can find out.
Okay. Sugar Bandits.
Sugar Bandits. Let's see here. African Queens. What? Oh, okay. Executive producer stuff. It's not on his thing yet. Okay, let's see if I can find it.
It's on Variety. Check Variety article.
It's fine. I'm just gonna look here. If I don't find it here, then it's fine. Okay. So let's see if. I guess it's still too early because it's not showing up on the IMDb. Oh. Well, we'll have to see who the director is, and then I'll be able to trust it. Because remember, after Earth, M. Night, that was M. Night.
The thing about M. Night is one of those directors who can do a brilliant movie, then do a crappy one. Kind of like Taika Waititi. He would do Jojo Rabbit, than he would do Thor: Love and Thunder.
True. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. With M. Night, it's that he's got. Thing is, I think M. Night needs to acknowledge his pros and cons and just lock onto it. Because when M. Night does this kind of movie in this kind of way, it's fantastic. As soon as he starts doing other things, Avatar,
I think he's also a B. I think he's also a B. He's not meant to be a blockbuster guy.
Yeah, he's not. Okay, there.
If you think about it,
he's not. He's not a blockbuster guy. He's not, because his movies are all condensed,
grounded, and yes.
Dude,
when you look at like the Sixth Sense is a very grounded.
Science has
what
like
else?
2 locations. The Village has like 2 locations. Like
leave
it alone. Yeah, it works. Split has like 2 locations.
You could say the exception to this rule is someone like Christopher Nolan, because he was doing independent films, right?
Yeah.
But then they gave him Batman, and look what he did. Then he did Interstellar.
Yes. He's one of the guys who I would say is the Western version of high concept writing that Asians do. If you know what I mean, like in terms of high concepts. Ooh, you frozen. Frozen?
Like
low
budget stuff, and then
what's it called? His first Memento. Talk about high concept. Right. The one with the magicians, Prestige, high concept. Prestige.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inception.
Inception.
Like Inception is high concept to the last degree.
If anything, he went a bit too high with Denzel Washington's son. What is it called again?
Oh, Tenet.
Yeah, Tenet. He may have went a bit too high there, but all the other stuff.
I think he took it up a notch. We're like, yo, we're not ready for your concepts, bro.
Yeah, dude, what is happening right now? I have to watch this movie 7 times.
Yeah.
But yes, he is the ultimate example of the Asian versus like Western mix, where it's emotional, high concept. Like that man kills it. So you can just let him go. I mean, he took Dunkirk, a basic storyline of soldiers running away, and turned it into this like multi-timeline. This man loves time travel. Timeline where this thing's happening here, and you discover later on that things are happening at different times, but you only kind of figure it out halfway through the storyline, if you know what I mean.
I haven't watched that. I need to look at it. But you're right. Because I remember there's a video of him actually explaining his method of story structure and timelines and whatever. So basically non-linear story writing. Yes. And he shows like on the board how the story starts from this point to that point and then circles back to one point to another point. Like it's a whole scientific thing that he came up with, and a methodological thing that he came up with, which is quite interesting. I hope I'll share a clip of that stuff, what he was saying, so that we can get an idea.
Tie it back to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Everything we just talked about right now is the exact literal opposite of this movie.
Yeah.
This movie is the opposite of high concept, but we'll get to it. It is the absolute opposite. But
and the timelines make sense.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and they go out of their way, almost Tarantino style, with the title cover, the boards to show the different time movement. Yeah, fantastic. Whew, so anyway, let's get back to the movie.
Sorry, guys, we get talking about movies every week, so I think you guys can see.
But because it's such a simple movie, right? Such a straightforward movie, I feel like this might be a shorter review. So I think
I think so.
Yeah,
it's very, very.
Yeah.
The runtime, we were talking about Die Hard, how it's long, but it doesn't feel like it's a long movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing here. Like, not much happens, but a lot happens. It's a dialogue-heavy film, so it feels short because of that. Because it's not like it's not a thriller. You're not a detective. It's not a detective film or anything. It's just people talking.
Well, you spend time with it. Let's put it like that. You marinate in the storyline with this one.
Right.
Kind of like how we discussed with Prisoners, where you got these long cuts. But anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, our opening picture is on black, and we get some dialogue at the beginning. Then we open on a threesome of faces at a bar, 2 Asians and a white guy sitting together. But the camera is shooting from oddly far away. We hear a voiceover, but it takes a moment for us to realize that this is not some terrible dubbing of them talking, but a deliberate choice, because it turns out we're not listening to them, the people talking. We're listening to strangers that are watching them.
Right. I've seen a lot because the questions that those people ask, the possible scenarios that they had in their heads makes you want to know really if, like, these questions actually make you wonder if what they were asking is actually what they thought could be the case. Why they say, is she talking to her boyfriend and the friend is with them, or is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was curious. I didn't know.
And it feels real because I've done that before. In fact, at Musical, we used to have a game called Spot the Third Wheel. So whenever you see a group...
Right.
Whenever you see a group of 3, you got to see, okay, which one is not supposed to be there right now?
Right.
So in a way, that's kind of what's happening here. And I loved it so much. It was it was clever. Very clever.
Because he did, okay, I don't want to spoil it, but there was someone who sort of felt like the third wheel when you were watching it from the beginning.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The voices break down the atmosphere from an outside perspective. We see there's a better atmosphere between the Asians. The lady, Nora, played by Greta Lee, is looks at the camera before smiling knowingly. I love how the camera zooms in slowly the whole time, by the way.
Yes.
And then it focuses on her, because so you know it's about her. This is her storyline, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's a nice way of pointing out the main character.
Dude, that's a nice observation. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, now that you're explaining it, beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of, to me, it kind of reminds me again of one of my best or favorite openings in a film is Acrimony, where like the camera slow zooms and you can see, okay, this is about this person right here.
Right.
I love that kind of thing.
I think you and I have spoken about love triangles before, right?
I believe so. I think we have like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Pros and cons of love triangles, but that was like one of our first videos, or maybe our second.
Really?
I know we talked about it, but I can't remember what we said.
I think it was a few weeks ago, but yeah, anyway.
I don't think it was that recent, because Robin was here a few weeks ago. I don't think it was that recent. When were you thinking? The holiday?
I think it was the holiday.
Okay, wait. What did I talk about? Because I know me and my feelings about love triangles. I know I've got rules when it comes to love triangles. So I feel like I wouldn't have discussed it during that time, I think. It was because
it was the Bridget Jones episode.
Yeah, I know we had a discussion about Bridget Jones and Holiday being next to each other. It's a romance thing.
We were talking about Bridget Jones and Darcy versus the other guy.
Yes.
And Bridget Jones, loving both of them at the same time, something like that.
But again, very different to this movie because that one, it's got clear lines.
Right.
It's drawn with a thick pen.
Yes.
This one is drawn with a thin pen. It's very complex.
100%.
Which is something I want to get into, but later on.
All right.
Because there's something I both love and hate about A24 films that is both fantastic and pisses me off at the same time. I can't explain it. It's something, I want to call it modern storytelling. I don't know how to explain it to you. Like, I'll explain it later at the end of the
They don't box themselves in when it comes to story writing.
True. And when you can walk anywhere, that's when you end up on railway tracks. So you got to be careful.
But interesting technology.
Yeah. We get to 2 years later. We get to 24 years. No, we get 20. Oh, sorry, wait, my bad. Yeah, it cuts to a board that says 24 years earlier. Here we go. We cut to a Korean city, and we get a slow pull down to a boy and a girl walking. I like this whole. Again, it's that move we talked about, where the camera, like in Prisoners, we follow the car, and it hits on the characters we're supposed to be talking to.
Yes.
Oh, brother, how art they? We follow the car, then it hits on the people we're supposed to be talking to. This one, we get a location shot of the city, then it hits on the people we're talking to. It's a very cool technique. You notice that a lot of movies are doing it.
And it's been done for days. It's been done in a lot of movies. Bro.
Yeah, but now that you know about it, doesn't it stick out when you watch a movie now? You're like, Oh,
Yeah,
that camera technique,
trust
that
me.
2-in-1.
I remember at the point I was reading scripts, and I remember one of the scripts I was reading was painting that picture. Like talking about like you're seeing billboards written this and that and the third, and then as it pans down, you start seeing the main characters. I mean, music videos that, especially in like 90s music videos, like your Erykah Badu's, they would start like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
but this one is all without a cut anymore. Like before, it used to be cut to a cut. Let's say they wanted to do an example of Mississippi. They want to go to Mississippi. You cut to a river. You cut to a Ferris wheel. I mean, a ferry boat. Then you cut to maybe like someone playing jazz. Oh,
Yes.
we're in Mississippi. This
Right.
one, you get, oh, there's a city of Seoul, and then the kids. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's it's a shift from the olden days.
Definitely.
But anyway, yeah, we cut to a Korean city. The guy and the girl is upset, and the boy is trying to figure out why she's so upset. Yeah, and then it turns out that the girl is upset because he beat her in a test when she normally wins, and that
Yes.
pissed her right off. And they call each other. She calls her. He calls him a. He calls her a psycho, which I thought was, which is like a lie that they use later on. It's really funny.
Yes. So she's basically like the smartest kid in class.
Exactly.
And he's like the second smartest, I think.
Yes, exactly.
Or let me just say they're rivals. Do you remember Akila and the Bee? Where the spelling test, like there was this Asian kid who was extremely smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's 2 Asian kids. Yes, exactly.
Right.
We cut to a father packing up books and film while smoking massively. Yo, they're just, there's actually like cigarettes, like chimneys, dog. Anyway, they are like the parents, the kids come in and they start going over their little American names like Michelle and etc. And then our character Nas Young decides she's gonna select the name Nora. Na Young, sorry. Na Young, now Nora, is playing with Hae Song while talking to her mother. And we gotta get mixed cuts, a montage of sort as she goes over. The parents kind of go over the deep feelings that the kids have over each other. It's like this little cut back and forth through time. It's very nice.
The parents were like, "Why are you stealing your sister's name?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that, but like the daughter is like crayoning, and it's like, "Hey, tell me about this guy," and it's like, "Oh no, we're gonna get married one day."
Right.
Then the mother's like, mother tries to help them out. So why don't you guys go on a date first? Mother's supporting them. And while that's happening, there's cuts of like them playing together and to them at the date already. And yeah, it's very cool. By the way, all the cuts happening fast, by the way. Like we get like a few seconds.
Definitely. Because I was actually surprised that the mom actually did that and actually called the boy's mom to say, let our kids meet.
It's very interesting in that it breaks the stereotype of like strict Korean parents.
Yes.
I think it breaks that stereotype a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then again, we're talking about Hollywood parents because like the mother's like an artist and then the father's like a filmmaker. So.
By the way, I wanted to ask you, would you consider this to be a Korean film or is it a Hollywood film?
It's a Hollywood film, 100%.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to say is then it breaks a lot of stereotypes about Asians being in Korea but speaking English. You know what I mean? Because they're actually speaking their native tongue for a very long time.
Yes, and I think that's a plot point. It becomes a plot point.
Yes.
And I think their relationship is almost a symbol of her Korean past. Like she thinks back to her Korean past, and that's kind of how,
Yes.
They are playing while their mothers watch. 5 minutes in, both mothers acknowledge the relationship, and then the immigration issue comes up. Nora is permanently leaving. This is kind of shocking. These are their last moments together. That turns out that's why the mother was cool with it, because she understands that this is going to be her last fun memory. Cut to the classroom. The kids are all talking to her about leaving, and we see a shocked Hey. Even as they walk home, you can see that he's still heartbroken. They are silent.
He's distraught. Sure.
At one point, when they part ways,
her, I think.
Huh?
He walks a bit faster than her, actually.
Yeah, he can't handle it, dude. He just can't handle it. And
Yeah.
he finally breaks his emotional thing just to call her attention and manages to say goodbye. And then that's just how it ends. And
Hey, dude.
they just say one word, goodbye, and then like, well, like,
I mean, what can you do?
hey, dog. I guess they're kids, but it's heartbreaking the
It's
way
messed up. Yeah.
it's so brutal. Let's put it like that. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to a flight to Canada. We cut to a flight to Canada, crossing the paperwork, the landing, her arrival at school, her standing alone at the wall. 1, 2, 3, montage. Cut.
Oh yes, I think while they were on the plane, they were practicing. What were they saying again?
Practicing
In English.
English, yeah. But it turns out to be meaningless because it doesn't come back. If you know what I mean.
What did they say?
No, they're like, hi, how are you?
Oh.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? They're kind of like trying to greet. They're practicing greetings. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Turns out we don't even get you don't get any of that. That was just, you don't get any of that. That doesn't come back. Every cut is fairly silent except for this little minutia of ambient sounds, noises, and soft music. Very soft few keys, like ding, 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 kind of very soft, simplistic stuff. You know what I mean? There's no orchestral stuff going on here.
Which was deliberate, I think,
Yes.
I guess, because it's a transition from Korea to Canada. So even the music you're playing is not distinct. It's not, you cannot tell where it comes from. It doesn't have a certain identity to it or a certain race attached to it.
I think it's a very A24 thing, actually. I feel like that's their style. They don't want any dramatic music, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get any Hans Zimmer, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're not going to get that.
They're just going to play like a very low, basic
position, but it's like what, 5 keys, ding, 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 kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, imagine Kanye West's Runaway, but all you get is that opening beat, and you don't get the rest of the song. That's basically this whole movie.
Right.
So it's a deliberate style they're going for. But again, and I think they're doing it on purpose because, like, you know how you said this movie feels like a longer movie?
Yes.
Not. I think this is what they're doing. They take all these small cuts and they make sure it's very, every single cut is a small detail that makes things real.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like let's say something happens to you, right? And it doesn't feel real. But then eventually you're like, oh snap, this feels real now. Right. So them signing paperwork feels real. You know what I mean? It's a small detail. Them learning the language feels real. It's a small detail. Her already at lunch break. It's a small deal, but it's now that you're in class with no friends, that's a moment where you're like, oh, this just got real. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Even you're absolutely right. Even when he walks a bit faster than her now, and we saw when we're being introduced to them, they were walking on the same pace. Yes. But now that he's distraught, he's walking slightly faster, which for me was a bit. I felt like he was a bit rude, but at the same time, you understand his emotions. That is real.
He's losing it, so yeah, he's gonna walk fast.
Jeez, man.
And then with the dog, the old lady, the dog just having to be walking past.
Yes.
It adds a realness to it. And then next thing you know, we just cut. And next thing you know, we're in dry. It says 12 years later, we're in dry grassland. There's an army troop making their way. It's a march. Then they cut to a meal. This is likely the Korean mandatory service that they have to do.
Yes.
A few countries do this: Denmark, Israel, and Korea. As far as I know, those are the 3 countries that do it.
Did they do it at a point?
Who?
Americans, I think. They used to do that. I think.
There's 2 different things between a mandatory. Remember, Taiwan does it as well. But a mandatory, there's the draft, which America did in times of war. Yes, you get called out.
Yeah, like in the 1920s, I think.
Yes. But here's the difference: is that also the 1970s, Vietnam, World War II.
Right. It was actually John McCook, the guy who plays Eric Forrester from The Bold and the Beautiful. He was drafted, I think.
Yes. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Very interesting, actually. But those are one-time things. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I get you.
Those are one-time things. Whereas Korean,
it's not a patriotic.
That's not a permanent law. Let's put it
mandatory thing where, as a man,
you reach a certain age between this and this.
Yes.
You have to go.
Have to.
Yes.
Whether it's war or not.
Yes. So Taiwan, I think Israel is the only one where the women have to do it as well, but obviously they don't do the exact same duties as the men.
Yeah.
So they'll do like they'll do some gun training,
Yes.
but they'll also do
like the regiment
stuff and paperwork and stuff like that.
What's that? Paperwork.
Paperwork and medical stuff. So like healing, bandaging, and emergency stuff like that. But the main gun stuff will generally be guys. And then Denmark does it as well. And then Taiwan, and then Korea. I'm not sure.
I guess for me, it does make a bit of sense why it should be mandatory to a certain degree, because it teaches you discipline. Like discipline for me, I feel like it's one of the major, things that every human being needs to learn.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know how it affects the economy or how it affects, the mental state of the citizens or of the countrymen. But
ironically, get this. Denmark is the only one where it makes the least sense.
Okay.
Israel is, of course, surrounded on all sides. Taiwan has China looking over their shoulder. And, of course, Korea has North Korea on their shoulder.
Yes.
China.
Yeah.
So
you're talking about South Korea. It has North Korea.
South Korea has North Korea and China.
Right.
Remember, North Korea and China are allies. So
Right.
they've got them looking over their shoulder. You know what I mean? So for them,
which makes sense, yeah.
So things could go down at any moment for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But having said that, South Korea, some of the largest economies in the world. Israel, one of the largest economies in the world. Taiwan, one of the largest economies in the world. What does that tell you?
Yeah, they are liable to. Well, there's a possibility of a war erupting there.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you said about discipline. You know what you said about discipline?
Oh, yes.
You said, what does that have to do? What does that have to do with the economy? Well, I think giving people mandatory year of discipline produces some of the best economies in the world.
100%.
Mega economy.
Right.
South Korea, mega economy. Israel, mega economy.
Right.
So it makes a difference. It clearly makes a difference. And I think I would love for South Africans to do it. I think it would be fun.
Message.
Huh?
No, I'm just telling the audience, message. Because it's a leadership thing. It's having the right leader who can train his or her people to actually understand the basics of discipline.
And
which will then be a skill that not necessarily a skill, but a mindset that they need to apply in everything else.
A self-reliance mindset would be fantastic.
Yes.
We as a, you know what, before I get annihilated by the EFF shows at my house, bunch of communists showing up in my house. I don't want that happening, but at the same time, I feel like we need that. As South Africans, yes. I feel like because number one, like I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's this complaint that a lot of non-South Africans have been having about us, and that's that we have by non, I don't mean Europeans, I mean Africans. Right. That's that a lot of South Africans don't want to be plumbers, if you know what I mean. Like, there'll be plumbing jobs available, but none of us want to be plumbers. So then those jobs will sit there. Unskilled labor is open, but none of us want to take it, so it just sits there, and then they come in, and then we get mad.
That they're doing the labor that we don't want to do.
Yeah, meanwhile, that labor pays. A plumber pays.
It pays well, hey?
Yeah, it pays well.
Unblocking toilets?
It pays well.
Guaranteed money, though.
Yes, but who wants to unplug a toilet? So no one does it. And then when someone from Somalia comes in, we're mad.
Right.
Yeah, so it becomes this whole thing. So I think that would change a lot in the country. But anyway, that's just the whole thing. I just think that's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Fun times. Cool. Cool. Yeah. 12 minutes in, we cut to a cab ride to Nora smiling before we cut to a meeting where people are complimenting her work. And you can just tell she's doing well, you know what I mean? We cut to a phone call to her mom over the laptop. She's reminiscing over people she once knew. She tries to remember the boy she had a crush on. Then she looks him up. Since she's looking at people for fun, she looks him up. And as it turns out, while she's looking for him, he's been looking for her on one of her dad's forums.
Who told her that she's doing a good job? Her boss?
Who knows who was at that meeting? I assume it's like fellow writers or something like that. But yeah, because remember, she's an artist. She's a writer. She's not She's not doing a normal boss job. So
Right.
she's a playwright, and yeah. So I'm guessing what happened. I'm assuming it's the crew, because the way they discuss it, it sounds like she wrote a script, and then when the script was
Yes.
acted out, they were like, "Oh, my favorite line was this." So yeah, I think that's what's happening there.
Mm.
So anyway, he decides. He doesn't even know her new name. I mean, she realizes he doesn't even know the new name. So she
Yeah.
messages him. 15 minutes in, we cut to him. He is consoling his friend over a two-year relationship that ended. He gets the message at 3 a.m., but he's too drunk to make it out. We cut straight to the morning, hangover mode. He decides to look at the message. He still lives with his parents, but they notice him being very happy. Like, to them, it's obviously not an issue. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you've been here for too long.
Right.
That is not an issue there. It's a cultural thing. Cool. We cut to her 19 minutes in, we cut to her receiving a reply, and she's super excited. And they get to, she dresses up for a video call, dog. She like dresses up, and you're like, yeah, gets ready. And then there's like a build up as the funny enough, the phone call, the video call,
Yes.
like starts to struggles to connect at the beginning. And then they see each other, and they talk to each other for the first time, and they go over each other. She's in New York. She's a playwright. He's still living at home, studying engineering. And it's like musical music we've been talking about start to play as time passes, morning into day, day into night. They have an awkward moment where they need to say goodbye to each other, and he confesses that he missed her, and she misses him too, and it's beautiful. And
but those moments, for going back to what you were saying about realism, or having a lot of few moments that capture realism perfectly. So that first encounter, that first conversation, it was so real. There's a lot of pauses. There's a bit of awkwardness between the two, because they're still reconnecting. They're still connecting with each other after such a long time. They talk about how they look older, and like he's talking about her Korean, like yo, what happened? It's a bit rusty and stuff like that. It's so organic,
and
authentic.
yeah, but she
Nothing
struggles with the
feels
keyboard.
forced.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they're reciting their lines. It feels like two people that really haven't seen each other in a long time connecting. It's amazing, truly amazing.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, like you're saying, like these small details where she has to relearn Korean almost.
Yeah.
She has to, like, on the keyboard, trying to make things, trying to write a letter,
Right.
to figure it out. But it works out. They just keep talking though.
Dude, I think there's even a moment where I think he's trying to speak, and then there's like a connection issue or something like that.
Yes, and they get stuck. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, wow, was that in the script?
Exactly.
It's amazing. Because I mean, you have to imagine these people were not really talking to each other over the phone like that.
Yeah.
She was probably just looking at a screen, a blank screen.
Definitely. The whole time. Yeah, dude, it's craziness. It's really good. It's beautiful. The small details, man. Yeah. But anyway, they keep talking. Days are passing. Then you can hear they're making time for each other to be able to talk some more.
Even though I think there was like a huge time difference.
Yes.
But they still managed to make it.
Exactly. Yes. That's what matters. Yes. That's what's so cool. You can tell it's like a real relationship. There's even a nice moment that I loved where they mention eternal sunshine of a spotless mind, and I'm just like,
I think one of them recommended it to the other one, right?
Yes.
Other one started watching it. I think she recommended it to him because she's a playwright.
Exactly. She's a playwright,
and
so she recommended him. Yes.
He watched it with the Korean dub, I think.
Yes, I think so. Yes. Point is, what I'm saying is, this movie is fantastic, and you know what? In hindsight, I think this was the original A24 film. Like, in terms of the artisticness of it, Eternal Sunshine is basically. I wouldn't be surprised if the people that made that company were we were inspired by that movie. Dude, I can't wait to add it on my list.
Makes sense. It would make sense. I mean, fun fact: when Kanye West was doing Late Registration, the second album after the College Dropout, he was listening, he was watching Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, or was listening to the soundtrack, and he was so impressed by the person who did the soundtrack that he got that person to work with him on a specific song in the album.
Hot damn.
Yeah. So it's crazy how these musicians get inspiration now.
Yes. In everything. And Kanye West can he can look at a shoe and be like, this is a song here.
Yeah.
He can get inspiration out of anything.
His level of genius is I would put it on par with Quentin, in a sense that they can see something that is extremely old and find a way to modernize it, but not dilute it to such an extent that it loses its taste.
Yeah.
Or it tanks.
Or doesn't feel like a cheap. It doesn't feel derivative.
Yes, like a cheap copy. Yes, no.
Exactly.
Right.
Like a lot of these stuff where they try to do something, you can tell, okay, we've got an idea. Then it just feels like a photocopy.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes it's just like, why did you do the sequel? You shouldn't have done the sequel. You know, Billy Crystal talks about, I think he was being interviewed by Gail King about doing a When Harry Met Sally sequel. And he's like, there's no need to make a sequel. Everything that you needed in that movie is in the, what do you want us to do when Harry left Sally? Like,
yeah, exactly. Does one of them have amnesia? Do they get amnesia? Do they have to meet each other again?
Some things should not be touched, man.
Exactly.
But Kanye and Quentin managed to touch it, and it turns into gold.
Pure gold, absolutely. Anyway, yeah, as you were talking about before about the connection issues, as they're talking, I feel like this is almost a clue of things that are about to fall apart because they start having connection issues. You know what I mean?
Ah, right. Please, dude, how does your mind work like that? You're right. I didn't even think of that, but you're absolutely right.
Because remember, after that, she falls asleep, and then she misses his call because he tries to call her again.
Yes.
She goes to bed. And then right afterwards...
I'm glad that wasn't an issue, though.
Yeah. It wasn't like the key issue, yes. But like almost immediately after that, he asked her if she would ever come to Seoul, the capital of Korea, whatever. And she doesn't understand why she would. She's like, but why? Which to him feels like a deep cut. And it is a deep cut because it kind of shows the difference between them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like he's willing to do something like that. She isn't.
Yeah. Not only is she not, but she doesn't even understand why she would.
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense to her. Doesn't make sense to her. Like she's at the peak of where she needs to be. New York, you know what I mean?
Right.
Broadway, that's where it's at. Right. Why would she ever go to Korea? So yeah. It's a deep cut, but then they got online, then the next day they get online together and you can already tell something's wrong. So it's awkward now. She asked if he can come over, if he can come.
Yeah.
But then he says he can't because he's going to go to China instead because there's more to learn on that side. He'd rather learn.
He was learning Mandarin, I think.
Yes.
Right.
So he'd rather learn Mandarin than English.
Which is quite an interesting perspective because you would think that people would want to learn English first before they learn Mandarin.
True enough, but here's the thing: Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world.
Exactly.
It's more spoken than English, definitely. Yeah. And right. I mean, the 90s, whenever this was supposed to be set, 12 years ago, before now, you would have realized that China probably looked like a very up-and-coming prospect at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially for
the economy in China is also good. So
yeah, and don't forget the thing. The baseline of China's economy isn't like the stock market. It's buildings. It was land.
Right.
So for an engineer, hell yeah, makes the most logical sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And that's when she hits the bombshell. She can't go there because she's on a mission. And at that moment, she decides to end things. They are clearly moving in different directions.
Dude, it was gut-wrenching.
God, she paints it as a hiatus, but yeah, we all know.
They had connected after so long.
Dude.
I mean, imagine spending so long trying to find someone. You finally find them. And once you guys reconnect, then you have like this strong bond. Then one of you guys is like, yo, I can't continue. But I also think that she innately knew that she was falling hard for this guy at the same time. So I think she wanted to sever all ties.
Yeah.
Before it becomes so hectic that it affects her
Yeah.
her productivity.
It's
Because
funny.
it was going to eventually.
Of course, yeah. It's so funny because this is the new thing about modern storytelling, is that now the mission comes first. In the past, love used to come first, but now the mission comes first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you think about Disney's Tarzan, Mary Jane had a life back in England. She ditched it to come stay with Tarzan. That did not happen today. Little Mermaid, she has a whole kingdom. She's a princess.
Right.
She's just to go stay on Earth, stay on land. That couldn't happen today.
No.
It's another. There's examples with guys as well. It's not just girls.
Good Will Hunting. Will Hunting loses his opportunity to become something great, to go for love, to find Skylar. So
exactly. So it happens both ways, but that whole if love comes first thing doesn't exist anymore. I feel like in modern.
Yeah, I think right now maybe it's because we are more aware of the pros and cons of love and marriage.
Yeah.
We're now focusing more on something that is intangible, like career.
Yeah.
Over a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because funny enough, where like it almost becomes like silly now. Like when people think about someone staying behind and then think what you get, like my dad was the one who stayed behind, my mom went to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like it almost feels like on both sides now it's like if one person stayed behind, that person is weird. Do you know what I mean? Like that person is weird. Now you must all both be on a mission.
Right.
So that's kind of what the story is kind of going for here. And it makes sense. If you think about it in that mindset, then what she's doing makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it also been like, what, 24 years since they've seen each other? She can just up and leave.
Yeah, but I think what you said made a lot of sense, though. She was falling in love with him.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where, like, if she didn't end it now, she would have ended up back in Korea with him.
Exactly. I mean, he was already in love with her, but
yeah, of course.
I think with her, something in her, I believe, had to be reignited. And it was reignited during these conversations.
Of course. No, absolutely. I think that was one of the big things as well.
Yeah.
It would have hurt her ambitions. So, yeah, she was like, nah. So, anyway, yeah, we cut to our second act. Though, to be fair to say, one could argue that the second act is when she first makes the phone call. One could argue that that's when things kick off as a second act. But I believe this is when the second act happens.
I'm more inclined to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. I feel like this is the part where you're like, okay, that dynamic, because like took a loop, 1 to 2 ends, now the new loop starts.
Yes.
I mean, so I feel like this 35 minutes in is our second act. She travels to a house in the wilds. We spend a moment on her just entering a clean house of an artist. You can tell it's an artist's house.
Right.
She put a name and a date on a wall surrounded by dates and other names, likely the names of other artists. At first, I didn't know if this was her room, but now later on you find out, yes, it is a holiday resort for artists.
Yes. Quite a very peaceful location, which complements the purpose of an artist thinking, being isolated from the world.
Yeah.
That's where usually your creative juices start flowing, because you are secluded, you know, in a remote location, and sometimes you get inspired by other artists in that situation, because you're basically
locking each other in.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest bands I know have done that. Black Sabbath have talked about doing that. 3 Days Grace have talked about doing that.
I think Rick Rubin does that anyway. For the most part, he does that, I think.
Who? Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin.
From?
You know Rick Rubin, right?
The name is so familiar. I'm trying to think.
Music producer, did like 99 Problems. Did Walk.
Yes, one of those like Quincy Jones types. Okay, yes. Or
David types. He looks like a hippie dog. Like, I don't think he even shaves his beard, dog. But yeah, he's a genius of note.
Of course, yeah. Cool. Oh, we're 38 minutes in. We cut to a train. We see him writing an email in Korean, but Nora's name's on top. Because it's in Korean, we can't see what's written. But he pauses on the email to get out, and then you just see him go to that same bar, that breakup bar, with his friends.
Right.
They find out that that's his last day. He's gonna have one last big drink with his friends before, going to China.
Yes.
We cut back to the house.
I think his friends were teasing him. I just don't remember what they were teasing him about.
They tease him again later on. They don't tease him right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were just like, "Oh, today's your last day." And he's like, "We're gonna drink like never before, guys." And he's like, "Oh, coming from you, that's fucking wild. Let's go for it." And then in the next time they see each other, that's when they start teasing the shit out of him, and it is hilarious. But anyway, we 39 minutes in, we cut back to that artist's house that she's in, and in the back we see a man coming in from a cab. She's asleep the whole time. It's a nice little shot where she's in bed, and out the window you see the cab coming in. It's a nice little 1-2 shot. I really like that. It's a little setup shot.
Yeah.
She's walking around in the morning. You see a bag on the bed, but she doesn't care, making you wonder about them until we see the guy from the opening shot. Nora introduces themselves. They're meeting for the first time. Nora meeting Arthur. Now we get a bit of a montage or a sequence, depending on how you want to call it, where time passes, and they still upset. Hey meets a Chinese lady, and Arthur and Nora seem to bond as their conversation about past lives. This is a kind of where you probably call it arguing the themes like that, where like their past life discussion comes in, and it leads to them kissing, which in its own way is heartbreaking.
Maybe just to delve a bit into it, I think they have a conversation about what if we're destined to meet at this moment, at this, like maybe we're past lovers and we're destined to meet now in this reincarnated state. Do you think it's meant to be? Is it fate? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And she's like, yeah, it's a famous Korean pickup line. And then
right.
Anyway, cool. We got a title card showing that another 12 years have passed. So we're back to date. We're up to date almost. Then we get this very interesting form of exposition where we get the landing interview, business or pleasure, and you kind of get updated on the whole thing. They're both married. They just came back from meeting their parents. So it isn't from Canada. It isn't from that artist resort. It's from Canada from meeting the parents.
How did you feel when you got that piece of information, bro?
It was pretty intense. It was almost like that. Well, not of the same intensity, but like the 5 years later thing from Endgame. It was like, hot damn.
For me, it was bittersweet because it's like, no.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean. I was like, no. Married? Weren't you supposed to meet this guy like 2 years later?
Yep.
It's 5, and you moved on.
100%.
Yeah, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just like it's a knife cut, and you're like, God damn it! You got me invested in this, and now you're showing me this almost. We're 40 months in, and you're showing me this now. Why? Anyway, they're both married. Now we kind of be getting this these cuts of moments. A little moment after moment after moment after moment that equals a sequence that equals this feeling you're supposed to get.
Right.
Of like life. Do you know what I mean? We discussed it earlier about the detail shots that show details that kind of make things feel real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we get them meeting each other on a traffic light and then kissing. We get her judging at an audition. We get her carrying coffee for them at Arthur's book signing event. We get Arthur speaking Korean to her in bed. This movie is going out of its way, fighting tooth and nail, just hitting the gym, determined to not show you exposition. It does not want to exposit. It does not. It doesn't want to exposit. It wants you to get nothing but show, don't tell. It is battling to show you without having to tell you anything. So it would
what would have happened normally if that wasn't the case?
Well, yeah. What would happen is right now it's giving you 5 small scenes, right? Instead of giving you 1 big scene. So what's a good example? Like one big scene would be like the Jack Black in The Holiday, where Jack Black meets up at the dinner table.
Yes.
And then we kind of we hang with the old people at the party, and Jack Black and her are kind of bonding while Jack Black is bonding with her people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we kind of get this connection there. This one, instead of showing a connection of love, it's showing a connection of life. These people are living a life together.
Plus, I mean, it's been 12 years, so yeah. Obviously, we shouldn't be introduced to them as if they just started dating. We need to see just a day in the life of this couple.
Yeah, or like that movie, not John Bernthal, but I always forget his name, the Nobody movie.
Yes, the guy who plays Saul, right? In Saul.
Yeah, exactly. Where he's like doing the gym thing, and then he's dealing with his wife. Or no, it's an even better example. Have you ever seen the movie Falling Down?
Falling Down.
No. I'm sure you have, man. With the guy that like his car breaks down and he has to walk to his daughter's birthday, and then on the way a bunch of things happen to him as he's walking. He's in a white suit. It's starring I
haven't watched it.
I am shocked if you've never seen this movie. It is such a beautiful movie. Starring. There we go. Michael Douglas. There we go. Robert Duvall.
Okay.
Beautiful movie, but basically like.
Oh, I haven't watched it, but I'm familiar with this movie. But I haven't watched it.
But it's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie. But like, I
thought he was a teacher, but I do see what you're talking about. Yeah, I do see this movie. I think he got stuck in the hood or something, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So he has to walk through California, which is basically a giant hood, and then then goes to go see his daughter, and then a bunch of things happen along the way that kind of stress him out because he's already stressed, and then he explodes in a way, and it's kind of like him just kind of like losing his mind as he tries to get to his thing. Right. But anyway, there's a thing with the wife where Robert Duvall's character is talking to his wife, and you can kind of tell that this relationship is like, it would be like one big scene of that where you kind of get to see how things are. Or another example, you know, if you haven't watched The Bear, but there's this 20-minute scene episode basically where it's just them it's a family dinner.
Okay.
And the family dinner gives you an impression of what the life is like there. 20-minute family dinner scene as opposed to a bunch of small scenes like this.
I get you.
So it's stuff like that basically, so I'm trying to get at. So this movie goes out of its way to show you without having to tell you at all, because it doesn't want to. You know how you said there's a lot of dialogue? I actually think there's actually very little dialogue here. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
You're absolutely right. There is very little dialogue here.
I would be surprised if Die Hard has more dialogue in this movie. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there are action movies that talk more than this movie.
Yeah.
So that is. So ironically, it does this weird thing where it doesn't want to talk to you. It wants to show you something. It doesn't want to talk to you. I think that's very, very interesting. It's very...
Which is kind of like Ronin, because Ronin also at a point was like, especially in the first act of the movie.
It doesn't want to explain itself too much, yes.
No, you had to like figure things out on your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating.
It is. Because it's like, I think it's given the impression that you're a fly in the wall.
Yeah.
Instead of actually being... I mean, you don't want to get to the as you know territory. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You'll never get an as you know here. Definitely.
Yeah.
They skip it. It's so funny that we talk about this. Do you know what I discovered? Actually, I watched this YouTube video talking about one of my favorite underrated comic book movies, Constantine. It's one of my favorite non-comic comic book movies. Because obviously, if you know the real Constantine, you know it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not Keanu Reeves at all. Like, first of all, that guy has blonde hair. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And
And it's called Constantine in the comics. It's called Hellblazer. But that's a story for another day.
But anyway, point is, this guy talked about how if you actually pay attention, Keanu Reeves maybe explains things like a few times, and it's always after the action. So things will happen first, and then maybe he'll explain it. So because people ask him questions, he either won't answer or he'll blow the question off. So I was
Because he already knows. Why does he have to explain him? Why does he have to explain to anybody? Yeah.
exactly. One director said Constantine is one of the best sequels without a first movie that's ever existed. He's right.
I like those kind of movies, to be honest. It's for me, it's kind of like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones for me feels like a sequel of a series that we haven't seen yet. Because it talks about the Mad King, it talks about like the fall of the Targaryens. Yeah. Like there's so many things that happen. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah, sort of it. You're right. But yeah, anyway, that beautiful sequence, short but sweet sequence ends. 47 minutes in. Because yeah, the whole thing we're talking about, we spend more time talking about that scene than the scene itself. It's only 2 minutes long.
Right.
Anyway, they're walking together on the street, and Arthur notices that she's distracted. He asks about it, and it turns out that Hae Sung is coming to New York on holiday. Same minute, we cut to the same friends at that same location eating their Korean barbecue, and they are talking about him leaving. They ask about it being about the girl, and he's like, no, man. It's like, okay, but what about your girl? No, we broke up, remember? And that is married. Like from 7 years ago. She married for 7 years. Hot damn.
Right.
And then they roast him basically. Because then they're like, you understand that it's going to be raining the whole time you're there. And they just laugh at him, and he's touched because now it makes less sense. Do you know what I mean?
For him to go to America, yeah.
It makes less sense.
Right.
And then actually, I made a note here. This New York that they've been showing us is perhaps the ugliest, least flattering sense of New York I have ever seen inside of
it. In any movie.
I have never seen New York worse.
New York is usually like, even though it's cold, I mean, that's the impression that you usually get about New York. I mean, it depends on which series or which movie you're watching, but music videos, TV shows, I mean, even the guys, there's a podcast called The Crew Has It with the guys, I think it's James Rennie Jr., who plays Tariq in Power Book 2. And he's saying, dude, we're always wearing jackets. Like, we're always wearing jackets in the series, dog. It's always cool.
But if you notice something, the streets look like African streets. They almost look like they're going to have potholes. In normal movies, New York streets the tar is black, the pavement is thingamajiggy. Even when it's dirty, it's clean. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that? Yeah, graffiti, a professional graffiti artist did that shit. Even the graffiti looks clean, dog.
And New York is usually blue, isn't it? Just like how Mexico is usually orange.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that matrixy blue-green filter.
Yes.
The walls. Yeah. The metal of the drop-down gratings don't normally have graffiti on them, or they'll be smooth. It won't be like, you know what I mean? It's all smooth. The walls of the buildings will be, that matrixy, like, what, marble or onyx? And like marble kind of like shine to it.
Yes.
None of that here. It looks like Hillbrow. This is Hillbrow, USA.
But I think, and I could be wrong, I think that was deliberate because New York was not the focus of the story. Yeah. The characters were the focus of the story.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if they shot this in Canada. But that's my point.
Yeah, that's the impression that I'm also getting, like, because you know how they normally do this sometimes, like, I saw it in Skim Sam a few years ago, actually like 10 years ago, where they say these people are in New J, but you can clearly see it's TUT in Pretoria West.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like what you do is you show a picture of that tower in Joburg, number one.
Yeah.
You know that weird slanted tower? You show a picture of that, number one. You show a picture of
Melville.
Yeah, Melville, yes. The taxis. Yeah. You're welcome to Joburg. This one, you get, I don't even know where this is. This can't be Joburg. You're telling me it's Joburg, but this doesn't make sense. We're in Mexico right now. Guy, mariachi band, guy with a sombrero, yellow filter. Cool.
Yeah, just like Africa, we need that lady that's like,
yeah. We're in Middle East. Yellow filter. There's some sand.
Show like 4 Jeep cars like passing by, or like Land Rover.
Yes. There you go.
Hey, it's the Middle East.
There's a wallaby.
That's a rattlesnake.
Yes.
Done.
Some guy playing the didgeridoo. We must be in Australia now.
You know
Thanks.
that effect, man. What's that effect? When I guess you could say like there's evaporation and it gives you this.
Oh yes, the horizon effect. Yeah, that looks like steam. But yes, that heat effect. Yeah, we're in Australia now. Heat effect. A scorpion walks past. Welcome to Australia, mate. Crikey.
Short umbrella or a kangaroo. Done.
Yeah. Or that four-way street with 50,000 people walking this way, 50,000 people walking this way. Oh, we're in Tokyo, aren't we? Yes. Welcome to Japan, guys. There's Tokyo Tower.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So this goes the opposite direction. It is like, fuck you. And also something else that you see is, I think I'll go over it a little bit later, is how many close-ups there are. There are no drone shots. Not one. Do you know what I mean? Like when she goes to that villa or whatever, that is normally a drone shot. There would be a drone flying over the car as it comes in. Then we cut to the thing. None of that. It is just, we're in the taxi. It's not even a taxi. It's not even like we're in the taxi looking out to the city. No, we're in the city looking in the taxi to her. Do you know what I mean? A bit of the road, a little bit of so-and-so. No, that's all you get.
I wonder if that's an A23 thing or if Celine Song just wanted to do something different.
I'm very curious about that, yes.
Or something, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So we cut to him, anyway, coming to New York in the rain. We don't really see New York, we just see him coming through a hotel room. You don't even see the full lobby. Like, you know what I mean? A lobby, you get like a little pan. Nope. One shot, him coming in, talking to the receptionist. We're done here. There's nothing on this side. There's nothing over there. This is what we get. He comes in, all right, cut. We get not even the whole hotel room. We just get a bed. Not even the bathroom, the kitchen, nothing. Bed.
But remember what I said about A23 movies?
Yeah.
There's an independent film thing about it. Maybe that's its brand. I don't know.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is it like, even in the shot of Nora and Arthur talking, we literally get nothing in the, like, you know, when that part we're talking about the past lives and they're talking together and before they kiss?
Right.
Did you notice that we don't even see lights in the background? It is literally nothing but blackness behind him.
Oh, yeah.
Like green screen. Like, how do you cut off nature behind you? Like, even accidentally. Like, you should have to catch a tree by mistake.
Right.
So black. You just hit them.
Right.
So it's like I can't decide if it's because it's cheap or because they're being clever. It
was shot during the pandemic. Who knows?
Who knows, dude? And anyway, we're filled with just all these kinds of like close cuts that we get. In fact, the widest shots we ever got were the openings with him and her in Korea. That was about it.
When they were kids, yes.
Yeah, when they were kids. And that was like 2 shots. The pan down, and then that was about it. And and walking up the stairs and then across the stairs. That was the widest shot we got the whole movie. Anyway, again, we are filled with moments of him, like he's chilling at a park. He's nervous. He's wet. I mean, everything kind of sucks for him right now. Then we cut to the park and we see him. He looks clean cut. He's tucked in. He's waiting at the park. We get a close cut, but even someone from New York couldn't tell what farm is this, what park is this? Is this Central Park? Do you know? Do you know if it's Central Park?
Right.
Doesn't matter. We get a picture of him. We don't even get the full fountain. You can just tell though he's nervous. Though his hands are in his pockets. He's stressing. And then this whole tension, almost like a few minutes. Then he gets broken by her calling his name. Right. And we cut to her. And she is the polar opposite. He's got white pants. She's got a white shirt. He's clean. His hair is clean cut. Her hair is uncombed. He's tucked. She's literally untucked. Shirt is open at the top, untucked at the bottom. Tight fit for him. Her pants are baggy as hell.
Damn, bro. I didn't even notice any of that stuff you're mentioning.
Watch it again. It's crazy. it looks like they are there for two very different reasons. Let's put it like that.
Dude, I don't want to lie to you. I think what I've noticed about us is if I watch a movie after we talk about it, I see it from a different perspective. But also, you know, it's something that I also noticed like for a very long time since I was like more than 10 years ago. Because I used to go to Menlyn a lot and watch movies. I knew we work at Menlyn.
Yeah.
This, what you just mentioned now, I used to see it a lot with dates. The dude would be dressed like all casual and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes even wearing sandals.
Mm-hmm.
The girl would be prim and proper.
Yeah.
You can tell that she actually put a lot of effort to come for this date.
Meanwhile, he's just living his best life. Yeah.
The dude is all chilled, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm thinking, I guess these people have two different perspectives of what a date is.
Yes. Some of them have different perspective of what Menlyn is. When we used to work at Musica, right? Because Musica was opposite the cinema.
Right.
And ladies would dress up for Menlyn. Not even just the movie sometimes for Menlyn. And you're just looking, this is even before they built a Moloko inside of Menlyn. Before all of that.
Yes.
When Musica still existed years ago, ladies would dress up like just short skirts, thingamajiggy, and then sometimes it would be a disaster where it's like, okay, you've clearly never worn high heels before. Don't do this to yourself. Don't let this be the opening day where you decide to wear high heels for the first time. Because
they're trying to impress this guy.
Yeah, they're trying to impress.
Meanwhile, this guy that couldn't care less, he's wearing like his high top.
Probably comes to Menlyn every second week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's craziness. Which is why, in a way, I think that's why it stands out more, because you notice how you mentioned guy-girl stuff? This whole like thing between a guy and a girl. Mm-hmm. But this one, it's so opposite, because yeah, he's the girl in this example, and she's the guy.
I guess it also goes back to culture. We spoke about discipline. I mean, he's from the army, right?
True.
And she grew up like in America or Canada or whatever. So they are more, I don't want to say uncultured because that's not the right word.
But yeah.
I would say they are.
Priorities.
Yeah, they're more laid back.
I would say it's a cultural priority, because I feel like Korean cultural priority would be different to an American priority. So they both have like a deep culture, but the priorities within the culture will be different. Like there's something an American would dress up with that a Korean wouldn't, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So it's not like it's not that one dresses up and the other one doesn't. It's just that this one makes more sense for a Korean and this one makes more sense for an American.
Yes.
I think that's the thing. And in this one, it's more relationship tied. She's not there to meet the love of her life. She's there to meet an old friend.
He's there
to meet the love of his life.
His life. He's there to meet the girl that he
of his dream
goodbye to like 20-something odd years ago.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking actually when you think of it like that. It makes it so much sadder. So much sadder. And then as they're talking, like they can't even say it's talking, it's like awkwardly like trying to meet each other. They hug each other and it's like a deep, passionate thing. And she's like laughing and he's like crying. And it's just, yeah. And then we kind of get this weird De Palma.
Oh, he cried.
Well, he didn't cry. He's a man. He's a Korean man, so he's not going to cry. Which is ironic, because I feel like that's what screws him over at the end, but we'll get back to that.
Right.
Because, there's a moment where he could have just fucking let go, and maybe things could have been different, but he couldn't, and he didn't. So, Anyway. They hug each other, it's motion deep. We get this De Palma style camera swing back and forth as they're talking to each other. The camera manually swings like this, and then manually swings like that, and then manually swings. It's very interesting.
When they were by the castle?
No. This is still with them meeting each other for the first time.
By the boat, no?
No. By the fountain where they hug each other.
By the fountain.
Yeah. Because later They're not in the same shot. Watch it again. They're not in the same shot. It's like he's here. Okay, let's say this is the frame. She's here. He's here, and the camera has to keep looking there, and then looking there. And it's like, okay, but you guys, the camera could have pushed back. Nope, it wants to do this.
Yes. And
it was very interesting. I can't exactly give it a reason, but it was very interesting. And after a couple of minutes of them smiling with each other, they finally start talking. 55 minutes in. gets them on a walk, and you almost want to say the scene starts here because this is when they start talking. Like that scene before was like just an awkward opener. Cool. And then the anticipated moment of what they're really going to say to each other after all this time is finally here. As it turns out, she actually went to Korea, but he didn't respond to an email she sent. She was about to get married herself, and he just didn't respond. She
makes sure to mention her husband a few times here, just to set the record straight.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, dog. There are two reasons they're there. But yeah, she asked about his go, and she's like, nah, things didn't. They're on a break, is what he starts by saying first.
Right.
About how they both felt insecure about their situation and their conditions. He didn't feel like he was enough. He asks about her relationship, and it appears that her relationship with Arthur is great. Afterwards, there's a bit of an awkwardness, all the small talk done. But I feel like before we get there, I almost want to say, when she kind of describes this great relationship, I almost want to say that she's almost painfully practical. Like for her, she's like, nah, it's as good as it can be. You know what I mean? Like she's almost unambitious when it comes to love, but ambitious when it comes to everything else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why going back to what we said about prioritizing, I mean, it goes back to why she even had to cut ties with him.
Yeah.
It's as if her career is actually the love of her life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything else comes second. And I guess you see it. I mean, if truly love came first, she would have dressed up. I promise you. She would have made sure that she looks good for this guy, even though she's married. If love really was number one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, all the small talk complete. She finally asked a question she's been wanting to know. 12 years ago, why did he look for her? And he says he wanted to see her one more time. She was on his mind a lot during the military training, which explains the shot from before that we saw. But that was when they were young and immature. They are none of that now, 24 years later. And yet, despite all that, things are, we're older now, so that, be gone all childish things. The moment still lingers. Do you know what I mean? And then we cut to nighttime, and Arthur is playing Xbox One. You can see by the controller. When she comes into the house, she sits down with Arthur and she admits, yeah, you were right, Arthur. He totally came here to see me. And that kind of felt a little devastating to me. Do you know what I mean? Because it really does kind of paint Hay as the other guy.
Yeah.
And we kind of get this very interesting shot. This is a great fucking... I wish I could have saved it now, in hindsight. Like, do a screen share quickly. But we get this fantastic shot. Okay, first of all, yeah, in shot, married couple talking about him and the weird sense that it gives her. But Arthur starts to wonder about the whole situation. We get this shot where we see them in the same frame, but they're talking in two different rooms, each with a mirror. It shows both sides of their body, but also splits them into two separate rooms with the door acting as a barrier or a frame within a frame. I think I discussed in the last movie about a frame within a frame.
Right.
So it'll be this frame, and then there'll be another frame inside. So it kind of makes you feel more claustrophobic or more locked in.
Right.
So yeah, barrier within a frame, and all of this is happening as she goes over her feelings over the situation and Arthur's interpretation of the whole situation. The situation creates a type of divide between Arthur and Nora a little bit. Arthur is jealous about the situation, but is trying to act maturely about it because, it's an old friend. He understands. But Nora still eases him.
Yeah. You could have done.
Huh?
Honestly. I don't think there's anything you could have done to change this.
The thing, actually. Funny enough that you say that. In any other movie, ironically, if it had been The Holiday, this would have been a moment where, like, Arthur gets mad. But he's like, I can't get mad. I feel something is strange is happening here. Do you know what I mean? I feel something is happening here, but I can't get mad. It's your old friend. You say you love me. You say it's fine, so I'll believe you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's happening here. But Nora still calms him down because there's no way in hell she would ever she's not a romantic. She would never, ever in a million years just give up her life and run away.
Never.
Never in a million years.
Yeah.
So that does calm him down because I think he understands that too. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
He does. I mean, they've been together for a very long time.
At
so
least 7 years, yeah.
He's figured her out already.
We cut to a rotating shot of Hay in this hotel room before cutting back to Arthur and Nora. Arthur laughs at the situation because it fits perfectly into the holiday type romance film about how the story is so much more exciting than the actual story they're living.
Yes. Didn't he say that he feels like he's the villain or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because again, she is not Mr. Darcy. Arthur is what's his Hugh Grant's character in Bridget Jones.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah, that guy.
In a way, he's kind of that. Not exact, not one for one, but he's the third in a typical romance, the type of stuff that I'm sure we would want to watch. He's the third wheel.
Yes.
And now in this one, in a more modern story, where situations are different now. It's not the case at all now. And he just kind of like laughs at it. And you kind of get this, but at the same time, you can tell that even though he's laughing at it, something deeper is happening here. And we kind of get a dark heart of the soul moment where he asks about her, about what she wanted in life. If this is what she wanted in life, sorry. If this life that she has right now is what you want in life. And, you know, because she's bone-crunchingly practical about all this stuff.
Right.
Like Arthur kind of, but she still reminds Arthur that she loves him. But he talks about his worries about her. Because he understands that there's a piece of her that's like in Korea in a way, you know what I mean? There's this Korean part that he can't catch up to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think he even confessed to that and is like, it's part and parcel of why I'm actually learning Korean so that I can
catch up, yes.
Void or something,
yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because she even dreams in Korean.
Because I think she speaks out loud or something when she
dreams. Yeah, she speaks when she dreams.
Yeah.
It's in Korean, which means she dreams in Korean, she thinks in Korean. Which is ironic because she struggles to speak Korean. But anyway, so there's this Korean side to her that he can't reach. And that kind of is, and that's a stress for him. Yeah. Anyway, it cuts from there. We're on a boat. Hay has got his bags. We get a dialogue moment where we talk about her dream award, her dream of awards. So basically in the beginning, she's like, I want to win a Pulitzer. No, I wanted a Nobel Prize. Then later on in the middle of the movie, it comes, I want to win a Pulitzer.
Yes.
And now it's, she'll just accept a Tony. You know what I mean? So in a sad way, it's kind of going down in ranking. You know what I mean?
And he was just like marveling at all these responses. Like,
yeah, it's still amazing to him. It's amazing to him. Even like, and I think maybe that's the thing that makes her so addicted to him, is that everything she does is fucking amazing to him. You know what I mean? Like she blows his mind.
But you see, that's the thing about not necessarily moving on from what could have been with someone else, because he is way more focused on what could have been had she not left Korea. You know, that yes, he is impressed by everything because that's infatuation or real love.
Well, let's say, yeah, definitely. I would say I think she mentions it even in the storyline, which like, you're an idealist. And in a way, that's right. He's Casanova. He's an idealist. He's not full on Casanova. He's an idealistic lover. Like, he believes in love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where she doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
it's sad, but it's true.
It's true. He believes in love. She doesn't. Not in the way that will make sense to almost all of us. And that's kind of heartbreaking in a way. But it is modern day, you know, in its own weird way. That is kind of modern day. So yeah. God, yeah, we're back to having moments with each other again. With them kind of chilling, cut, chilling, cut, chilling, cut, chilling, cut, as they go sightseeing. and you can see that she's very like contemplative. And then it ends with them kind of going back into the main house, into their family house.
Wait, when you think she was contemplative, what do you think she might have been contemplating?
Them, because again, as a person who understands the concept of like being a dramatic lover, that sounds dodgy, but I mean when I say that, I mean like, you know, when you like roses and shit like that. Like I'll be that guy sometimes where I'm like 120%. You know what I mean? Like you just go crazy. Like I think some people, I think nowadays they call it love bombing. Modern day anyway. They call it love bombing.
Yeah, which is a concept that I fully don't I mean, I would say that only applies if you don't have good intentions from the beginning. But
yeah,
if you have good intentions from the beginning, I don't consider that love bombing. I think it's you just using this is you having a love language of acts of service. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a moment of fucking euphoria. It's euphoria. It's the definition of euphoria. You know what I mean? And
yeah, they call it human face, but yes, it's euphoria, right?
You're sharing euphoria with this person.
Yes.
They make you so happy that you just want to give them everything. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the kind of guy he is, who he wants to be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To the point where he never, as a kid, he never got upset when she won every single thing. Do you know what I mean? And the one time he won, he felt bad for her. Do you know what I mean? He's just so, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be addicting. That can catch someone the wrong way. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like that's her problem. Like, does she want to give in to that? But it's not who she is at the same time. But at the same time, why wouldn't you want to give into it?
But I don't think that's who she ever was. The fact that she was upset that she was number 2 shows you that she just wants to be her own person. And yeah, she doesn't really fall for the conventional stuff. Yeah.
But anyway, this kind of gets interesting because I want to say that this basically, now we hit the climax of the film, where Arthur meets Hay. And we get a moment where Arthur, because remember in the discussion that we talked about before about, you know, Arthur talking about, you know, where they talk in the 2 different rooms in that great shot, Arthur talks about like, is he attractive? And she's like, yeah. And like, do you find him attractive? But yeah, I don't really know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then Arthur meets Hay for the first time. And Arthur is just kind of staring at him and he smiles. And to me, I believe this moment where Arthur realizes that Nora was completely underplaying how good looking Hay actually is.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, holy shit. And he laughs, accepting it.
Right.
He's stunned, and then eventually he laughs. To me, that is my favorite moment in the entire movie because several emotions are happening there. You know what I mean? Like realizations, emotions. And he kind of realizes the situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like at that point, you realize, in as much as I said I'm gonna trust my wife, I don't think I'm gonna trust her with this nigga.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's the thing, right? In the beginning, when he first looks at her, right? I'm sure that's 100% what goes through his mind. And then he starts laughing, and that's why it takes for him so long to start speaking. It's because I'm sure he had that thought as well. But again, he's the mature adult, so he's got to shut that shit down.
Yeah.
And then go forwards.
Right.
And I think that's why he stays for so long, because he's got to mentally shut that shit down and then go forwards as a responsible adult.
Right.
And that's what, and I feel like it shows in his face so well. And that's why, to me, that's the best moment in the movie. So anyway, they speak for the first time. Hay keeps looking to her for what to do next. As Arthur is trying to build something to flow off of, you know what I mean? To trying to have back and forth conversation. It was not really
just to have like small talk.
Exactly. It was not really working because his Korean is not that good. Like there's a part where she's like, do you want to go eat? And he's like, do you want to go eat? And then he just kind of like, she has to like say it again. But like,
yes.
You know what I mean? And it turns out like he said the word wrong or something. And it's like, oh, okay, yes, I want to go eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of, then we get, in 83 minutes in, we get the scene from the beginning of the movie where Arthur is getting to know them. So that scene we saw at the bar, there's a lot of...
I like how you put it. Arthur gets to know them, not him, but them, because he doesn't know her to be with someone from her past who's not a family member.
Exactly. Now she wants to know that that Korean half that he's always wanted to see. He gets to see it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of small talk. Hey struggling with English and Nora acting as a translator. But the conversation is awkward because the actual translations are actually few and far between with them talking to each other. Like, you'd be like, translation, talk, talk, talk. Translation, yes. Talk, 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 talk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it becomes weird. It's funny because Arthur is the only one drinking, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah.
Dog, it just seems like it seems like Arthur met them there. No. It seems like they met Arthur there as a couple. Exactly. And they just happened to sit next to him because there are no more seats reserved for any table.
Exactly. He's the third wheel. Hey ends up speaking pure Korean to her and thanking her and talking emotionally. Arthur is just in the background. Hey is coming to terms with the reality of the situation. He's finally accepting it.
Yes.
He likes Arthur. He understands the situation. He sees the house. He sees the family. He sees everything. And he's coming to terms with it. That the girl that he pined for 24 years ago is gone. And understands that they may be just fated to be near each other but never together. And they start going over all the way, and such a clear, cool thing he says where he's like, when you're with me, you always leave. And I thought that broke my heart.
And it's true though.
Yeah.
It's true. It's not like he was trying to start something.
Yeah.
It is the truth.
Like she's always the one who leaves. No matter what.
Damn, bro.
So yeah. Then when they kind of deal with that, and to me, I feel like if there was a theme or a message, it would be this. It's kind of like Frozen makes fun, in the same way that Frozen makes fun of love at first sight, which I've always thought is a cruel thing. I've always loved the idea of, because sometimes you hear stories about these like people who are like, I saw her and I was like, I'm going to marry that girl.
Right.
They got married. I always thought that was cool, but nowadays that's considered a form of rape. I'm assuming.
I hope not.
It's a form of violence. I get what you mean. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nowadays it's unacceptable. So also the same thing with the long lost love, also unacceptable. Do you know what I mean? So this is the modern romance taking over old school romance.
Yes, because it's like, it seems as if it's a bit childish for you to expect someone that you haven't seen for like over 10 years to be in love with you and not to have been married or be in a serious relationship with someone else.
Literally, that's exactly the case.
Yeah.
It's pointing that out. It's pointing out the silliness of that situation.
At Log Dog, this is reality.
Yeah.
There's no way someone will wait for you for that long.
Exactly.
And they're living in the city. No ways.
So in a way, yeah, they start going, accepting that, they start going over all the ways that they might have been in love and how maybe they knew each other in past lives. And that's kind of how it ends. We cut to the bill being paid, and it's Arthur and Hay together. It's very awkward.
I think she went to the loo or something. I don't remember.
Yes, I'm assuming so. But then Hay apologizes for the rude, silent treatment. Arthur is cool and actually thanks Hay because he feels like there's something she needed. It was a form of catharsis.
Yes.
She needed to put this feeling to bed. Then 91 minutes in, Arthur and Hay say goodbye to each other as she walks him to the Uber out the country. Hey, dog. Kind of reminds us.
He said that Hay said Arthur must come to Korea or something like that.
Yeah. You'd be like, yeah, you should come visit us sometime.
And you see, it shows you that he has no qualms with.
No beef.
With Arthur, and Arthur doesn't have any qualms with him.
True. They walk in silence for a while, facing each other. There's a moment when they're facing each other at the end of it, right? Before the Uber comes. There is a clear moment where a kiss is incoming. Like she's ready to be kissed. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
He used to take 2 steps. And it's a different movie now. And he breaks it. He breaks it. And he's like, oh, here's the car. Gets in the car to leave. Then he turns back one last time and asks a question, but it's not the answer that he wanted.
What
And
was the question again?
he was like, what if in the future, what if the past lives thing is actually in the future and we're like heading towards that? What did you think about that? And he's like, oh, I don't, she's like, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, I don't know either. And then he leaves. And yeah, it's basically him fumbling the bag forever.
But I think that was the right call. Because for one, she's never moving. She's not going to go to Korea.
I agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
His life is in Korea. He prefers it there, right? Also, she's married. You know what I mean? And the guy's a cool guy. It's not like the guy's a bad guy. Like, you see no flaws in Arthur at all. So I think that was the right call, because he would have otherwise complicated certain things. He would have been a homewrecker.
That's kind of the point, isn't it? That the romance of the whole situation, that love pushes through. But yes, I agree. It would have been a disaster. 100%. Yeah. So he leaves after fumbling the bag forever. We follow her on the same walk back.
This for me is, I think for me, it's one of my favorite scenes actually of the whole movie.
There's no dramatic music, by the way. There's no, like, again, this is where like Hans Zimmer comes in.
Yeah.
You know, like, she walks back, because like there's a movie where that happens. Okay, Pursuit of Happiness doesn't count, even though I feel like him walking out of the building and then him getting emotional is basically what's happening right now. But like that kind of moment, there's multiple movies where like stuff like that happens.
I know there's a lot of movies like that. I can't put my finger on one, but I know there are a couple of movies like that. Yeah.
But the shit here is simple. It's very whimsical as per usual. We follow the walk back as she has an emotional moment, nearly breaking down, and then the camera kind of flows into the Arthur. And then when she sees Arthur, then she truly falls apart. Kind of picks up the pieces.
For me, that's the scene. That is my favorite scene in this whole movie. That specific scene.
He picks up the pieces and they go home, and the movie just stops.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a real story of love, choices, people being people. It feels like a reversal of the mumblecore storytelling.
What is that?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, mumblecore is, in real life, right? People don't talk the way we talk in real life, right? In movies, if you talk the way you talk in real life, it becomes a boring movie, right?
Yes.
That's the principle, right?
That is true.
Right? So, if a movie becomes too realistic, it becomes boring, it becomes distracted, it ruins the story, right? So generally, conversation will be straight to the point, right? So,
like, everybody in a movie is a good listener.
Yeah, for some reason, no one over each other. Well, mumblecore says, no, we're going to go for exactly that. Hence mumblecore, because they just keep talking. So it becomes a very talkative movie as it's more realistic talking to it, right? So
yeah,
and then
changing topics on the fly.
Basically,
like you're saying, interrupting each other.
Exactly. No one is witty or sharp, nothing like that. It's just realistic conversation. No Sherlock Holmes snappy comebacks. No Bridget Jones.
Right.
Colin Firth. I feel like Colin Firth is the ultimate of snappy comebacks. You know what I mean? Like
and everybody feels like a complex character. Even the supporting character feels like a complex character in a movie that focuses on two characters. You're like, why? Why do you feel like a complex character? You know.
Exactly. Yeah, now it deliberately puts the haze back in of that style of storytelling. So it feels slow, but it still has forward momentum. It's very interesting. You should look up mumblecore movies and try and watch some of them. It's very, very interesting.
I know there's a video that was released a few years ago where the guy was talking about this. I just didn't know the term, but he used a movie starring Adam Sandler and what's this guy? Ben Stiller. They were brothers in that movie.
Ooh, I'm trying to think. I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's a drama even. And he was just breaking it down that one of the reasons why this movie works so well to him is because of mumblecore.
Yeah. Also, Ben Stiller's got a movie as well. I mean, where Greenwald, where he's like a former musician, and now he's a babysitter and like stuff like that. Dude, yeah, it's a whole indie genre of it. So yeah, but this feels like the opposite, where this one, instead of doing the talking, it just cuts it out and just beats the words out of you and just wants to leave you with these moments of silence, of these montage style cuts that do all the talking for the movie.
Right.
That kind of skip some stuff, so you have to do the thinking yourself, so you can fill the gaps yourself, which is an interesting style of storytelling. That's something I know one day we're going to talk comics again, but like it's very interesting style of writing where you deliberately leave a gap. Like, let's say for example, there's a storytelling is a straight line, right? So what you do is you deliberately leave gaps, and that way, what happens is you as a logical human being, right? Your brain fills the gaps for you.
Oh, yes.
And you end up with, so like, for example, you see this, right? So it does that, and look at that. It looks like one solid thing. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually this, but then it looks like that. So
right.
One solid thing. So that's something I would love to talk about one day when it comes to storytelling and like really work on it. Yeah, but anyway, so that's a style that's being done here. So that way they don't have to spend so much time explaining themselves. Understand? So they don't spend so much time explaining themselves. They don't have to lead you in, because this was a very simple storyline. It's got true, honest feelings with everything simplified but made poignant. And by simplistic, this is important. So by simplistic, I mean, I think that you could have taken this whole movie, picked it up, put it inside an action movie, and it still would have flowed the same.
Right.
But it would have had the same atmosphere and feeling, which is why it needed so much time. But because the story is so straightforward and simple, I could have put this in a Die Hard movie, or like, what's another? Let me give you a better example. I keep saying Die Hard. It's a good example.
Like a Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, you could have put this in Pearl Harbor, where like they start in love, because I think that one also starts in love and then ends with them breaking up. So yeah, Pearl Harbor. You're right. With Ben Affleck's character. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? Hey.
Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
And who was the main girl?
I forgot her name, dude. But it's
I forgot her. We all know her. I just forgot her.
But it would not have had the same atmosphere feel. It cuts out all the other stuff that could have been in it that we're just talking about right now.
Right.
It cuts out scale. It cuts off all that impressive score work. It creates what I would call an atmosphere movie to create almost a meditation. I almost want to say. It's a meditation of a movie, not just a movie. It's a meditation.
It definitely makes you reflect on certain things, and I guess you could say it breaks the stereotypical. Yeah, we've known each other for a very long time. Then we should have. I think we're meant to be because we've always been friends, but we just never really did anything about it. Trope.
True, yeah, true. But also, a lot of the times what they'll do with those movies is they will go hard out of their way to show that there's a real difference. But in this one, they keep bonding. Every time they talk, they bond. Do you know what I mean? So it almost reverses that as well. That trope reverses that trope as well, on like so many different levels. But because it's so simplistic, it doesn't get stuck in knots because of how simplistic it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, I would give this one a solid 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 if I watch it a second time. But yeah, this movie is great. And I'm sure there are more shots that I missed in this movie that are even better. I would give it a proper 8. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a for me it's a 9, bro. It's an 8 to 9 movie. The thing about me is I love a lot of dialogue heavy movies. I don't know, we say that it doesn't have a lot of dialogue in it, but I think it captures every moment well. Nothing feels forced. There's no moment where something felt detached, or where I felt like I could do without this part. You know, there's some movies where you feel like this scene is dragging.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that in any of this. I wish it actually could have ended after like maybe 10 more minutes. But I guess you get everything that you need. It's like the right portion for your plate to eat. It gives you everything that you need. And if you want seconds, you just have to watch it again, type of thing.
To me, that's why it feels like a meditation. That's why I said it feels more like a meditation than a movie.
Yes. So, and I think for me, it's one of those movies that even if I do watch it again, it'll probably be the second and probably like the last time, even though it's not going to be the last time, but if you get what I mean, because there's some movies that are so impactful that you don't have to watch them again.
True.
Because you got everything you needed to get from this movie.
Especially ones with twists. I agree.
Yeah. No, I'd give it an 8 for sure, without a doubt.
Okay. Completely understand, man.
Yeah, man. Is there anything that you want to say before we shut it down?
Yeah, we finished before 12. I'm very happy.
Yeah. This is actually like 11 past 11.
This was supposed to be a short one because it's only but then I think we deliberately took long with the opening, so we managed to make it a long one again.
Yes, which is not a problem. I mean, I've noticed that our reviews are at least 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So unless we have some other people in here, then
it becomes at least 3 hours long.
Yeah,
right. At least 3 hours long.
I keep saying that our reviews are longer than the movies, though.
They are. It's because we give each other a chance. Like, I'll give you a chance, and you got to give the other guy a chance to tell us what they think, what they interpreted. And then you end up with multiple interpretations that we bouncing off each other. And that, ironically, to me, that's why you make movies. You know what I mean? To me, that's an explanation as to why you make movies than anything else.
You remember you and I used to talk about, we actually once talked about this, I think it was even before we recorded the podcast, about how DVD commentary is dead and we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Because how will you get that?
Yeah, because you can't put it on YouTube without putting the
movie. There's no bonus features.
Yeah.
Without what?
You can't put the commentary on YouTube without putting the movie on YouTube. And they won't let you do that.
No. So that's what's missing now. You know, we don't get, all we get is like small clips or interviews of at least just the director.
Yeah.
Or maybe just the main actress, or like a panel, whether it's a Google panel session or Comic-Con panel, but it's not the same as a DVD commentary, because with DVD commentary, they talk about every scene.
In individual moments, there will be like, this moment reminded me of this. We had 6 months here. And we wouldn't
This is the shot that I took when the day when it was raining, but then we had to cut out the rain sounds and whatnot. Like, just unnecessary detail that adds depth.
Like, for example, Game of Thrones, right? The first episode of Game of Thrones, right? There's a scene where the directors are talking to each other, right? And if you pay attention, because like it's Ned Stark and Rob Stark walking, then in the background there's a woman, right, who's got one of those like old school washing things. Where it's like it's almost like a rake. It's almost like a whatever you call that thing, right?
Like a plank.
Yeah, like a plank, and then you start washing against it.
Yes.
Yeah, but they didn't have water at that time, right? They didn't have access to water. So the woman is holding clothes over nothing. So it's like this massive gap, and she looks ridiculous. If you see her, she looks ridiculous. So like they talk about stuff like that, and that's so much fun.
Yeah, man. I remember even in Entourage, we spoke about how the first season they had so many extras, dog. Like the show itself had too many extras just walking around. They're like, yo, we had a lot of extras like that.
Yeah, sure, they were affordable in those days.
Yeah. Okay, but guys, that is Past Lives. If you have made it up to this point, thank you so much. Clearly, you guys love our content. It means that we are giving you great content. I'm sure you've learned something. He spoke about a word that I didn't even know before. Mumble. You said it's mumble what? Mumble. You know. If you have watched, pardon?
Like rap, mumble rap.
Yes. So guys, if you guys have watched this film, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't be shy. We won't chop your head off. We just need honest opinions or honest takes of film. Art is subjective. I believe that art is subjective all the time. Someone's masterpiece might be a disaster, to someone else. So let us know if you liked it. Was Greta Lee your favorite actress in this whole thing, or actor in this whole thing? Who did you like the most? Did you like Arthur, or did you like Haim, or did you like Nora? Let us know. And Thank you so much, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Push the notification bell icon so that you can be notified of any other videos that might be coming out. This is African Frame. You can also check us out on TikTok at African_frame. Sorry, at African Frame _ podcast. Or you can check, bits and pieces about some of the videos that we've done in the past. You can also comment over there. Don't forget to get Jin's War, Rob's book. Check it out and let us know your thoughts about the book. Actually, you can hit up Rob directly on his TikTok, maybe direct message him, I don't know, or just comment on this channel or something. I'll make sure that Rob checks it out. But yeah, this is African Frame. We'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.
Peace.
Oh yeah.